All right, here we go. Drew Nixon with you. You guys can hit us up, as always, on the Jay's Southland Tow Service text line, 913-586-7965. Coming up a little bit later on in the show, we, of course, will go out to Arizona, check in with our guy Josh Vernier, our Royals insider, get the latest from him. He's got his Hot Stove show on tonight, and we'll find out who some of the guests he is scheduled to have this evening here on your home for the Royals, 96.5 The Fan. But you're good. I saw the car is back. Everything good to go.
Yeah, car was back yesterday. Well, I got it obviously 2 days ago, but full day driving it yesterday. It is kind of weird for a car.
Feel like a new car again?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't remember all the buttons are. I kept turning the volume up on the radio on the wrong dial because that's where it was in the car I'd been driving around. A little bit weird for that perspective, but other than that, good. I do have devastating news for the listeners of Cody Gold.
Okay.
Desmond's girlfriend broke up with him.
Oh, no.
I know we've talked about it on the show. If you missed it, he's been really smitten with this girl at school.
What happened?
He comes home off the bus yesterday and he says, I have great news and I have terrible news. And I was like,
all right.
Oh, man, that can't be good. I said, hey, man, what happened? He said, the terrible news is that I don't want to say her name. She broke up with me. And I said, oh, dude, what happened? It seemed like things were humming along. No problems. What happened? He said, during a time in which they were like taking turns doing a drum activity at school, he got to choose who drummed next. Desmond did not choose her.
Oh.
He instead chose his friend.
Whoops.
After which she said it's over. The way he described it is she did this. She put up the heart hands and then cracked him in half.
Oh, wow.
So she was crushed by this decision. So they've broken up. He told me the great news is that they are still great friends.
There you go. I mean,
he said she still wants to be my friend, and I really like being her friend. So that's great.
It's a good life lesson.
He was happy about the friend, but he chose a different kid to drum. It wasn't the girl who had been his girlfriend during this time. Mm-hmm. She ended it. I don't know what to say. I hope he's going to make it okay today. He drew an apology picture yesterday when he got home. Mm-hmm. I don't know how that'll be received, but
maybe when he gets in the car today, he's going to say, you know what? We're back together. All is solved. All is good to go. It's a good learning experience, you know?
You always got to choose the significant other.
Over the friends sometimes. Sometimes, you know? If you really like the person.
Yeah, that's what it depends. It's like, what's your interest level in maintaining this relationship? I know Drew was crushed. He was very invested in this relationship, and now it's over. So I'll let you know, Drew. Maybe there'll be a rebound. Maybe she'll, backslide. Maybe she'll be reinterested in this relationship today. They're in kindergarten. It's hard to say, you know?
Right.
Move on to different people, different times, They've drifted apart.
That was not the update I expected. Although, someone says bros before ... Yeah, I don't know if that applies in kindergarten or not.
I don't think so.
It did to Desmond, though. You know what?
Someone says it's good to know that he's got, he knows how to support his friends, though.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Once again, he understands he's learning how the world works. That's what school's all about.
That's right. Life lessons.
He's learning some hard life lessons.
All right, let's get into the Chiefs, though, because there's definitely thought after the way the Super Bowl went down, and I guess this applies to the entire offseason, and I'm sure it'll be brought up during training camp, and ultimately how people perceive Patrick Mahomes in particular, let alone the entire franchise to operate, which is this idea of, well, now they are going to want ultimate redemption. Now they're going to go scorched earth, and we've used that phrase, scorched earth, plenty of times throughout Mahomes' career. Does that apply here, or is this, hey, it's just a complete reset anyway?
I used to be kind of a bigger believer in he's about to teach people some lessons. The normal notions that the Chiefs go through. This does not feel like the time for me. I'm not going to buy into it this time, partially because I think they're at a bit of a crossroads where they got to make some decisions on some guys, and the way they're building their roster. And they might be in not a lull. Lull for them might be losing an AFC title game. I'm not here to pretend like that doesn't mean it. But I think if they go back to the Super Bowl next year or they're in the AFC title game and lose, I don't think it's because he's learned a lesson from the Super Bowl and he's coming back. He just goes there. I'm not buying into that part of the storyline as much as it is he is so accomplished and great at what he does. He would get there whether he had won the Super Bowl or lost because he didn't go scorched earth the previous 2 years when he was getting back to the Super Bowl again. I think it's just by nature who he is. We're not seeing as much, I think, of that, he's out to, disembody you, right? That we used to kind of maybe feel in the early going.
It would take a big jump if we're just looking at the stats, too. You know, it's not even, I think when people, it's not even so much getting back to a Super Bowl, winning the division again and all that. It's, does he have the huge year again, the MVP caliber year statistically where he's a legit MVP candidate again? That's what I think people are talking about when they say, oh, he's going to go scorched earth and all this kind of stuff. The performance from Patrick Mahomes this year, we all know the first, 7 weeks of the season, everybody was questioning, like, what's going on? This guy's turning the ball over a lot. And then we know he didn't have a turnover from week 11 till the Super Bowl, till the Super Bowl, I think it was. So that just happened. Would that mean, was he going scorched earth then? So I think it's just a fun thing for a lot of people to say.
I think it's because that's his nature. They just want to be like, this time it'll be different. Like, they want him to be like, we've joked about the John Wick, right? They want him to just like tear everyone down to the side. I think he's more, the more he gets older in his career, I think it's less of that and more like he's a machine. He knows what he has to do. We see the photos. Offseason goes the same way. I have already seen a video of him working out with Bobby Stroop.
Right.
Those will continue for a little while. We'll hit some mini camps, and then it'll be like he's throwing passes to Worthy in Texas.
Camp Pat.
Okay, we'll get a little Camp Pat. We'll get to training camp where he, like, new dude, we'll talk about this stuff, talk about how the sting of last year's season's ending still burns, but he's about this year now. He has adopted the Andy Reid mindset in my mind, where even more so than it's like, I'm out for blood. It's, if I do these things in the same order, in the same way, I prepare myself the same way, I will go out and I will be in an AFC title game. At the worst, I will be in a Super Bowl most likely, based on my history, and I'm a results-driven guy. I just feel like it's more that now than the burn it all down version of Mahomes we try to, like, hype up on social.
Yeah, it's just a different era that we're about to enter, I think, for Mahomes, too, though. Not just because he's got a new haircut and everything, but now he's going to be entering his 30s. Does his style of play have to change a little bit at this point in time, just based off of where he's at? Now, he's still in the middle of his prime, but does it change if they're able to solve the left tackle problem? Does that allow him to play a different way? Does they all of a sudden, does he have a grouping of Rashee Rice and Worthy and Travis Kelce all in the field at once? We've really never seen that. This level of Worthy and a healthy Rice and a Kelce.
No, you heard Veach talk about that. You're kind of like pawning, like, ooh, I wish.
3.5 weeks this past year we had that, right? I knew what you meant. Yeah, like the first 3.5 weeks you saw that, but that was when Worthy wasn't the same type of receiver. So that also could change a lot of this.
Yeah, and I do think that there's a lot of truth to that, where if I go back and I look at the season and now I have like a chance to kind of, the broad view that we get when a season ends. It's still remarkable what he accomplished, considering the fact none of his wide receivers were available. His number one wide receiver played 3 games and then was immediately hurt. His number 2 wide receiver played 1 preseason snap, and we didn't see him again until Christmas Day. He then had to rely on getting a rookie wide receiver up to speed, which took 10 weeks, like it does, in an Andy Reid-led offense, when he wasn't expected to be the number 1 guy. He spent a huge chunk of the year throwing to Juju Smith-Schuster and McCole Hardman. And then after like week 7, I guess DeAndre Hopkins for a bit. It was a mixed match of nonsense. I am optimistic that the offense should, like if they bring back Hollywood in particular, if it is game 1, let's just say there's no suspension because who knows? God knows.
Mm-hmm.
Game 1 is Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy, Hollywood Brown, and who am I forgetting? Rashee?
Kelce?
Yeah, Kelce. That's who I was trying to think of. Kelce. Game 1. Woo! That's the best weapons he's ever had. Unit. Maybe not the best individual weapon, right? That's a different conversation.
Yeah.
And Travis was a couple years younger a couple years ago, right? But I mean, that's how they were planning on going into the season last year. It's so sad, though, because I still stuck with the same thing, which is like, can you even utilize those guys if you can't protect them? So, like, I immediately go to the negative, not meaning to, but like, the immediate thought is like, can you even throw it to those players if you can't keep him off his ass? And last year they couldn't keep him off his ass, so.
Yeah, and I think that's why they had to play a certain style. I know so many people will look at him and be like, hey, why didn't they do this more or whatever? Yeah. I think so much of it was handicapped by the fact that they did not have a left tackle that was able to hold up throughout the season. It's why it's the number 1 priority, but it's also why when you think about how they're going to do it, yesterday we were going through the scenarios and like there's a real chance that they end up having an option at left tackle that I don't think fans are going to feel great about unless you believe they're going to trade up in the draft. Like it's either that or it's a DJ Humphries type of thing again, and they just believe that another offseason is going to set it up. So we'll see if that is solved or not even if we all know, like, as much as it's great to keep the strong interior offensive line, and it is because that's been a huge strong point for them. But I think it's proven, though, if you don't have great tackle play, you're average otherwise. Because we can say they maybe have the best interior offensive line in football. Okay,
they were average.
They're average at offensive line because your tackles were either average or very much below average on the left side.
And you notice when you have a bad day, because what happened was they had a really bad day at the Super Bowl, and then you notice the tackles even more so. Like I saw today, like the 33rd team put out, like, pressure rates allowed by all offensive linemen in all of football. Number 1, Creed Humphrey. He allowed the least amount of pressure in the NFL at any offensive line position out of anyone, right? 1.1%. Essentially, no one ever gets past Creed Humphrey. For every 99 snaps he takes, somebody wins once, right? And most of the time, probably because Mahomes is used to pressure pretty much never coming there, it probably doesn't even lead to a sack most of the time. But I'm with you because, like, the problem is that they had the best interior offensive line for a huge chunk of the year. They then had to weaken it once they officially made the switch to Joe Thuney. And then I think in retrospect now, I would have never done that. It threw off the dynamic of all of it. I would have almost rather started Wanye. And I almost say Kingsley, but I don't think you could start Kingsley.
It's a big what if. I mean, the biggest what if of the season is if DJ Humphries would not have gotten hurt in the Chargers Sunday Night Football game, and he just would have played it out and not had the hamstring, and then they would have started him again the next week. And would he have just continued to develop more and more, and we would have been saying, oh, DJ Humphries is the left tackle during the playoff run, and then we'd be sitting here and we wouldn't even be debating the left tackle conversation. We'd say, oh, obviously, just bring him back. Yeah. It's the big what if. We'll never know. But that, I guess the only way we would know is if he starts this year and then he looks great. We can say, wow, they would have been fine. But that's something we probably don't get the answer to. No,
and they're going to have to make that decision based on what they saw in practice. But at some point, they decided he wasn't healthy enough to start over Joe Thuney.
Right.
Or they just saw, like, it's
too late.
In a lot of ways, it's like, I kind of wish Thuney had done worse. Like, I wish the move to left tackle hadn't gone well so that they were forced into a different line of thinking. And I know that's only
maybe they get eliminated earlier in the playoffs in that scenario, maybe.
Maybe.
We don't know.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's again, that's why we play the what if game.
Coming up in 20 minutes, we'll head over to Indianapolis. Some news out there yesterday, some rumors, plus media fights. Oh, yeah, a good old media fight. And the location makes it even better. We'll get into that in just a bit. But the Royals' rotation last year was the reason they had the year they had. Bobby Wood Jr. was incredible, but the overall reason why they were in the postseason was because of the starting rotation. So naturally, when you look at this year and how do they elevate or how do they disappoint, I guess, and not make the postseason, once again, it's going to come down to the rotation, right? Isn't that the number one worry, that there's some regression?
Yeah, it's the single biggest scare thing I have going into the season. Any kind of coming back to earth is a huge problem for this team. They are still okay offensively. They were okay offensively for a huge chunk of last year when they had Vinny in the lineup. They were quite bad after he got hurt. Remember, they lost like 6 games in a row right after he got hurt, and it seemed like the team was just kind of reeling off of the injury. But, like, they've got some good offensive players. Like, Salvi is way above average for the position he plays. Vinny, when healthy, you saw what he did. He was going to have 100. They were going to have 3 guys with 100 RBIs if Vinny didn't get hurt. So, I mean, they had all 3 guys were pacing well above it. They were going to have no trouble with that. They got better at the top of the order with Indy, all those things. But if just one of those guys gets hurt or one of those guys do you feel ultimate confidence in the starting rotation depth to think that they can cover for what they got out of Lugo last year, got out of Waka last year, got out of Reagan's last year? Because they got to go to Marsh, who, by the way, is also having a slow start to spring, not because of injury. If they got to turn things over there, I don't think they can cover it yet. They're deeper than they were last year, but they needed all 3 of those guys to pitch like that for the entire season in order to get there. What did Waka? Didn't Waka miss like a
15-day stint or something?
And other than that, all 3 guys were available the entire year.
And that is the worry, is that, and we've asked JJ Piccolo about the injury part, like you hope everybody makes it through, but we know that's usually not how baseball works. And so they're well aware of it. It's something in their mind they think they've prepared for. We're going to find out. There's no doubt if this team were to step back, it would likely be in the rotation. Regression or injury reasons from the 3 names you mentioned, Lugo, Reagans, and Waka. You hope that's not the case, but there's a decent chance one of them end up on the IL again. Like there just is, and hopefully it's a short stint as well, but maybe it's longer. So, okay, that's the number one scare. Then do you believe there's enough offensively to elevate, right? If you're going to get worse starting pitching, of course, it makes sense. Well, you got to be better somewhere else. Okay, the bullpen, that's a big area where I think will be, but because
paper.
of Jonathan India leading off, do they have more opportunities for Bobby Wood Jr.? So if Jonathan India is getting on base at a much higher clip than the rotation of guys they had last year leading off, well, then maybe that covers for some of the mistakes. If you're not going to get the same quality outings consistently from the three pitchers in particular, well, then your offense has to pick up the slack. And last year they had no way to really do that. If that would have happened, they wouldn't have made the playoffs. Let's just be real. So this year, the same thing. If the pitching is going to be worse, the bullpen either has to be way better, like Vern mentioned, maybe as good as top 5 in the American League, or you just got to be that much better on all. You can't be a middle-of-the-road offense. They might have to be towards the top, not top 5
asking
or anything.
a lot. That's asking
not top
like
5, or they're not going to. The outfield's not good enough for them to ever be in that category. But can they be
top half of the AL?
Can they be a top 7, top 8?
That's tough, man.
offense?
That's a big ask because you're asking at least more than one probably of the players that we have no answers on, like MJ Melendez, to be a lot better than they've been in their career. Looking at the starting pitching depth, here are the options that are available. Let's say not digging into the minors, as in guys that haven't made their big league debut. So I'm not mentioning Kudrna or Champlain, some of the guys who could hypothetically start, although I think he might rate out as a reliever. We'll see. But not Kudrna, the Champlain. But so like when you look at it, here's the guys who have either started a game for the Royals at some point or have started a game for someone in the big leagues at some point that are on the roster. Michael Lorenzen, who they just brought back and they used in a flex role last year, including starts when they needed him to start. So not bad depth there. Alec Marsh, who should be ready by the beginning of the season. Feels like he might start in the IL. Now, the beginning of the season, not the worst time to have a pitcher start in the IL. Helps with the depth. Kyle Wright, complete unknown there. Very
Has
good.
the most upside of all the names you've mentioned, though.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Not even close.
Yes. Because, again, because when he pitched and was healthy in his big league career, he was fun. And Daniel Lynch. And Daniel Lynch, at this point, I am willing to move on to the, Daniel Lynch as a full-time reliever because I've seen it and it works and I'm interested in that. I could have been talking to Bubic as a full-time reliever because of how dominant he was. But I think they're saying, well, Bubic, we can just take out of the bullpen and make him a starter, and that's going to work. And with Lynch, it wasn't a health thing like it was with Bubic. He wasn't coming off of surgery. Lynch just couldn't get outs. He just couldn't get outs. Kyle Wright last started a big league game in 2022. So it has been almost 3 full years since he started a baseball game. But that year, for the Atlanta Braves, he went 21-5 with a 3.19 ERA, pitched 180 innings in 30 starts. If there's a saving grace, the only way I could say that one of those guys could suffer something and they overcome it, it's that Kyle Wright is the goods again. But that's his only good year as a starter. I'll point out.
They took
At 26 years old, that's his only good year as a starter.
Yeah, when they brought him in the organization 2 years ago, I guess it's been at this point in time. It's a dice
Flyer.
roll. Yeah, flyer, dice roll, whatever. Yeah, whatever analogy you want to use. Absolutely. I mean, but his ceiling is higher than some of the other names. Like Alec Marsh, with all due respect to him, if he does pitch, I feel like we kind of know what you're going to get from Alec Marsh.
Yeah,
he's not going to suddenly turn into
4.9 ERA. Probably keep you in most games. Every fourth game, he won't keep you in a game, but the other 3 he will.
And that's why if he's needed to start and be your 5th starter or something, or a spot start, or however it's going to end up working out, we don't know yet. That's fine. But if you're asking hey, who could suddenly become a huge factor in the rotation? The only guy that really I think has a chance of that is either Chris Bubic or Kyle Wright. That could be a true difference maker in the rotation if everything went well for them.
Yeah. But it's
based on their stuff and just based off of who they are.
But he was in the league and bounced. He was a AAA guy. He bounced back and forth as a reliever and occasionally a spot start guy for 4 years in baseball. Didn't do anything. Had one random year with the Braves in which he started 30 games, pitched 180 innings, was an all-star, and you're like, the hell? Then had to have Tommy John. And you're like, I don't expect anything out of Kyle Wright. I don't want to put anything on him. Anything you get out of him, I think is just gravy. That's just, to me, that's just extra. Wow, look how much better we could be because Kyle Wright's available.
That's fair. What gives me some confidence that there's something there that they can get out of is this current regime.
The Lugo Reagan stuff
has done a great job at evaluating, even off of injuries, evaluating big league talent from other teams, right? Not looking so much we're going to find out as time goes on how good are they at evaluating high school and college talent. We're going to get our answer in the next 2 to 3 years.
I hate that in baseball.
Right? We don't know yet, right? Is this regime good at that or not? We don't have the answer. Maybe they're amazing at it. Maybe they stink at it. I don't know. What I do know they're really good at is if you're looking at big league talent on another club, they're finding the right guys. Mm-hmm. So that's where I'm at on Kyle Wright as well. They've
more
got
optimism.
Yeah, and there's their ability at the big league level to kind of develop pitching at the big league level, tweak some things. I don't know if they can turn the 19-year-old kid into a future starter. I don't know that yet. We'll find out in the next couple of years.
Something came out 2 days ago. It's out this week, and I'm really, really excited about it, even though I didn't even watch golf regular. Do you watch Full Swing?
I don't. It's the
Okay.
Netflix doc, right? It's their version of the F1 series thing, right?
And they did such a good job. Yeah, because the F1 one was that one was so good. Netflix came up with Full Swing. I think Full Swing's the second best of all of them.
Okay.
Like the quarterback, because everyone's trying to do this with every sport now. I think Full Swing's the second best one because it brings you in. Did you happen to catch the trailer for it? Because if you weren't watching before, Gold, tell me you don't want to watch now, when immediately the trailer includes Scotty Scheffler getting arrested.
I'm warming up, and all I see is my friend handcuffed walking to a police car.
Thank you. First of all, I was freaking out because I somehow went from driving into the golf course to a jail cell, and I still don't really know how that happened exactly.
Do I have a seat?
I don't think it ever really felt real.
I'll be honest, I didn't think this was ever a position I'd be in.
Usually people never do.
I understand how it happens. I completely understand. I have driven past security. I have flashed my badge. It's chaos, especially when it's dark.
He attempted to proceed. The police officer began to yell obscenities at him. The police officer then latched himself to the vehicle. At that point, the police officer took out his flashlight and started to hit the vehicle, demanding that Scheffler get out of the car.
At some point, cooler heads prevail, but I think I was just shocked at how long it carried on.
Nothing to drink this morning at all?
Mouthwash.
Just mouthwash, okay.
Try not to drink too much before you go play golf at 8 a.m.
The officers involved, we don't believe, had any idea who this was.
They did not.
So I assume you're pretty good if you're playing the PGA.
All right.
Is Tiger as good as they say he is? Or is that...
I assume you're pretty good. Oh, just the world's #1 golfer
Just the
at the
number
time.
one golfer in the world. Just like one of the single greatest starts to any PGA career of all time.
That morning,
him hitting him with is Tiger as good as he says he is?
That's wild. That morning was still one of the craziest, not even sporting events, but certainly stories around a sporting event that we've ever seen, where he got arrested, and we're like, what the heck is going on? And he ended up, remember, shooting. He was really good on the course that day too. After being arrested,
that day he was really good, and then it kind of
fell apart.
Fell off. Yeah,
but clearly the officers involved just had no idea about golf, or who any of these people were, based off of the questioning there. Now it's something people can laugh about in hindsight. At the time, it was a very serious thing. We didn't know what the heck was really going on. But now it sounds like everybody involved can kind of laugh about it and move on.
It is amazing how...
how do you... I mean, I get it. Like, you were security, you might not know everything that's going on, but
It is amazing, and I think, Cody, you've brought this up to me before, because I've brought it up. I don't understand how you don't know these people, but it's crazy to think about.
A lot of golfers could walk around and...
Oh, yeah. If Scotty Scheffler walked around, a lot of people, you probably, I don't know. I bet 60%, I bet
he can walk around this building.
I don't know.
He could walk around this building, other than Dana Wright and maybe the three of us and with 2 or 3 other. How many people in the building do you think would actually recognize Scotty Scheffler?
I mean, I guess maybe half.
I don't know if I don't know.
But he's driving into the golf course at 7 in the morning. I love the joke. By the way, that's how you know he thought at first he was he wasn't taking it all that serious. He's like, have anything to drink? He's like, just mouthwash. And he's like, I don't try to drink a lot before I golf at 8 a.m.
Yeah, I don't want to have to go.
And then it started to turn, and he's like, uh-oh. You think an interaction is going friendly, and then someone turns it a little hostile, you're like, oh.
Oh, he's serious.
I thought we were joking around a little bit. Oopsie.
For him to say, I really never thought I would be in this situation, and the cop goes, most people never do, as if he actually did something wrong in this case. Yeah,
most people don't think they're going to be handcuffed in the back of a police vehicle. You're right. Yeah.
Man, I mean, it's just it's such a wild thing. It makes me want to watch. I'm going to watch that season. Obviously, I'm going to binge it probably this weekend.
My only question is, did we just get all the good stuff already? Because otherwise, I'll check it out, but I'm worried
At least that episode, aren't you interested?
That episode I'll watch. I really don't have much interest in the others, but I'm wondering, did we already get all the good stuff right there in the trailer? Is there much more? I don't know.
I mean, the fact that they had the body cam footage is good. I need some jailhouse footage. What I desperately need is
I don't know if we can
him handing him that ham sandwich or whatever the hell they gave him.
You might get the video of them walking him in the door of the building. They're not going to have video of him just chilling in a little holding cell.
I'm sure you might be able to hear from more people other than Tom Kim, who is the first person that you heard, and then I forget the third person.
Well, Jeff Darlington's voice was in there for sure.
Yeah, obviously, Jeff as well. There was another golfer.
Latched himself to the car. Yeah, it was Damon. There was a couple of guys who were just like, I didn't know what the hell was going on. All of a sudden, Scheffler was arrested.
Tom Kim's like, I see my friend. He's handcuffed. What's going on right now? Excuse me? It was funny. The dumbest part of the story afterwards is that other people did the exact same thing as Scotty Scheffler, literally the exact same thing. Flashed the badge. I'm going to go ahead and go. But he was stopped out of all people. If it was, I don't know, the 95th player in the world, it's a story, but it's not as big of a story, obviously, as Scotty Scheffler.
You know what's scary, though? If it was the 95th golfer in the world,
he might not get on the course that day.
That guy still might have been behind bars the rest of the day.
That would suck.
I don't know.
Unfortunately, that might
I don't
be
remember
the
whatever
case.
happened with like the disciplinary stuff on that. They just say because for a while
for the
his boss was like,
I think he was on.
He handled the job the way he's supposed to handle the job.
No, I think he went on it was I don't know he might have been on administrative leave for a little bit. I don't know if he actually got fired. I don't think he actually got fired or anything.
Someone did say there is. I did see that there's some Happy Gilmore 2 footage in it too. So maybe Travis Kelce. You might have to watch the season, man.
Okay.
You don't need to watch the previous 2 seasons to appreciate this.
Yeah, I don't.
They're standalone based on the previous golf season, so you're fine.
This would be the only storyline that would get me into to watching Full Swing because I watch the majors and that's it. Yeah,
I do have an appreciation for those documentaries, like not just the Drive to Survive one, but also the golf one. They've got a good tennis one, the quarterback, the basketball one, because you get.
I haven't watched as many of those.
Because you get. I think I get hooked into those more because you get to learn about what it's like to be that person a little bit more than just the headlines that are, that are there. They're inviting them into the privacy of their homes. They're in meetings that you never would get footage to. I'm more of a sucker for those things because you learn that Anthony Edwards literally does nothing but play video games and play basketball. That's what he does.
The only 2 things he does?
Pretty much. That's
he's really good at basketball, so I hope he's also good at video games.
But yeah, those things are interesting.
All right, up next, we're going to go to Indianapolis. There was some rumors about who was meeting with who. Is it allowed or not? And we had a little media fight right there in Indy at a coffee shop. That's next.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Hey, Missouri sports fans, I've got good news. Underdog is available to play in your state. We're just talking about golf. Yeah, you can do that over at Underdog. You can do basketball, choose your favorite stars, see who's going to score. It's one of the leading sports apps, and now you can play it in your state. You can win up to 1,000 times your money over at Underdog by choosing higher or lower than your favorite player stats. Maybe you think they're going to go higher than 71.5 on their round, right? Or in basketball last night when you could have been betting on your favorite K-State players. Mix and match, choose the ones you want. With millions of fans already over at Underdog who have won billions of dollars, you can join them with an app that has over 100,000 5-star reviews. And like I said, millions of players. Download the Underdog app today and sign up using promo code TAPP, T-A-P-P, to unlock a special offer for up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you make your first deposit. Join in on the fun and sign up with that promo code TAPP. Claim your special offer today and get up to $1,000 in cash instantly upon your first deposit. Must be 18 plus and present in the state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit www.ncpgambling.org.
It's February. What is more romantic than a new toilet? 2. This month we are offering buy one, get one half off a toilet replacement. Win those brownie points and call Connolly at 913-768-7676 or visit ConnollyPlumbingSolutions.com.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, it's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch every day from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Twin Peaks is proud to offer an exclusive and extensive collection of some incredibly rare bourbons, whiskey, and tequilas. Plus, check out our barrel selections that are handcrafted by our team and bottled just for you. Supply is limited. Cheers!
Folks are always asking me about QC Kinetics treatments. They want to know if they should consider it for their joint pain. If you're wondering if you are a good candidate, let's see if you answered a yes to any of these questions. First question, is your quality of life impacted by chronic pain in your knees, hips, shoulders, or other joints? Do you have trouble sleeping, walking, and doing day-to-day movements? Next, do you want to avoid surgery and all of the pain, long recovery, and uncertainty that comes with it? And most importantly, do you miss doing things you love because joint pain is holding you back? Walking, golfing, jogging. If you answered yes to any of those, I bet you'd be a great candidate. So please don't wait. Call QC Kinetics right now and ask for your free consultation. Learn how the latest advances in regenerative medicine can get you lasting pain relief with no drugs, no surgery, and no downtime. Call 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. 816-412-6299.
When something happens to your kitchen, you might say,
"This is ludicrous."
but that won't fix your home. That will only get you the rapper, Ludacris.
Having trouble? Don't panic. Don't be alarmed. You need to file a claim? Holla at State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
That's right. You can file a claim on the app or call us.
Thanks, Mr. Chris.
No matter how ludicrous the situation, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
State Farm, Bloomington, Illinois.
Our daughter Jessie loves playing detective.
A clue.
But since we discovered she has sensitive skin, we've been playing detective too.
We thought the problem was our puppy.
But it was actually our old detergent.
Aha.
So we switched to Tide Free and Gentle. Tide Free and Gentle provides an excellent Tide clean, and it doesn't leave behind irritating residues like dyes or perfumes, so it's gentle on your skin.
Case closed.
If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Free and Gentle.
Check engine light on? Take the guesswork out of your check engine light with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Getting your guaranteed maximum refund with TaxSlayer feels like discovering a refund tree has grown in your backyard.
I'm the refund tree.
Sawing off its branches.
Hey.
Feeding them through a wood chipper.
My branches! My beautiful branches!
And dancing in its refund rain. Start for free and get your guaranteed maximum refund. TaxSlayer. File fearlessly.
Welcome to TGL, presented by SoFi. Golf's newest league, live on ESPN and ESPN Plus. It's 2 hours of hammer-dropping, overtime-forcing, playoffs on the line golf. Tiger, Rory, and more of the best from the PGA Tour, split into 6 teams. Learn more at TGLGolf.com. Tune in every week for TGL matches. Keep up, it's golf.
It's time to find out who was in the zone, presented by AutoZone. As the world tunes into the international hockey exhibitions, it's no surprise that we turn our focus to the hockey world. Winnipeg's left wing has been doing it all as they held an 8-game win streak going into the break. Also representing the United States, he has helped his teams with over 30 goals and 40 assists on the season. In the Zone is brought to you by AutoZone. Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Are you 50 or older? This news is for you. The CDC now recommends you get vaccinated against pneumococcal pneumonia. Even if you're healthy, your age puts you at risk. People 50 or older are over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia compared to adults 18 to 49. Just one shot can help protect you. Learn more and schedule at vaxassist.com. That's VAXassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Hey, this is Brad Evans from BetMGM Tonight, weekdays 7-11 Eastern. The BetMGM Network is your home for expert sports betting insights, real-time odds, and nonstop action.
And the best time to tune in is right now. The madness of college basketball is heating up, the NBA playoff race is tightening, and MLB opening day is just around the corner.
We've got expert picks, in-depth analysis, and everything you need to stay ahead of the game.
Presented by the sportsbook born in Vegas, BetMGM.
Watch on YouTube, listen on the free Odyssey app. This is a BetMGM Network.
The technicians you can trust with your house keys. Anthony Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electric.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Back here on Cody and Gold. Coming up in the noon hour today, Michael Massie, Royals, I'll say second baseman, maybe left fielder as well.
Both. Utility man. Now you play 2 positions, you give me utility.
That's true. Michael Massie is going to call in. We're glad to have him on the show around 12:10 or so, live from Surprise, Arizona. Plus, look, we've had him on the show before. We know he's a big NFL guy, so we might have to work in a little Chicago Bears discussion, NFL discussion with him. And thinking of the NFL, things are heating up in Indianapolis. Combine today is actually the first day of drills and everything, but there's still more and more rumors coming out. If you guys were listening in the 1 o'clock hour, maybe by chance yesterday, towards the end of the show, we referenced Jordan Schultz from Fox Sports' report. I'll read that again. It said, hey, sources, Raiders minority owner Tom Brady recently hosted Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford at his home in Montana, where they spent time together and went skiing. Brady's been actively trying to convince Stafford to join the Raiders, and discussions are ongoing. You and I had the same reaction around 140 or whatever it was yesterday. Like, hey,
is that tampering?
Is that not tampering? The Rams have given Matthew Stafford and his agent permission to seek a trade. You and I took that as if, his agent can talk to teams. The players can't go and have meetings. Maybe it's a gray area. I feel more confident that maybe it was tampering because very quickly, 25 minutes after we were on the show, then you see Ian Rappaport sends out a tweet. His tweet said, Raiders minority owner Tom Brady and Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford ran into each other at a ski resort in Montana.
Happened to be at the Montana ski resort at the same time. Wow.
The meeting, unplanned, was not extensive or in-depth and did not include Brady hosting or recruiting Stafford, despite reports saying otherwise, which this reeks of CYA by the NFL, by the Raiders, by the Stafford's agent, which also is the same agent as Tom Brady, ironically enough. Yeah, of course, I don't know if you can really ever prove it. So I wouldn't expect a punishment to happen for tampering. But boy, oh boy, come on now. We can all use some common sense. They didn't just happen to meet in Montana. Matthew Stafford, when he got traded from the Lions to the Rams, happened to meet Sean McVay in Cabo. You guys remember that story from a couple years ago? Or it's probably been 5 years now at this point in time. So no, look, they obviously...
So this is Stafford's thing.
This is what his agent and him have figured out a way to go about.
Punish him. It's now the second time. Tom Brady is a convicted cheat in this league. No offense. Schultz is obviously right here. If I'm having to choose a side, Schultz is absolutely right. The two people who refuted this report are NFL employees trying to make the NFL not look bad, because this entire year was spent trying not to make the NFL look bad for having a different set of rules for Tom Brady. It's nonsense. It's BS. He obviously went there to go recruit Stafford. I don't think it's a mystery at this point. And also, some of it is just so rich. Tom Pelissar, no offense. And we've had him on the show, but, sitting at the tube, I reached out to Tom's agent, and he's assured me that there's nothing wrong. Did Tom's mom also say he's the most handsome boy? Because asking Tom Brady's agent, who is also the agent of the quarterback, if he committed the crime is insane. It's like asking Chief Saholic if he robbed the bank. You can't ask the source. You got to ask somebody who was, around them. Ask a random other ski goer at the resort. No, it's weird, man. I was also on the slopes, happened to see them bump into each other, and then we all had cocoa in the lodge together. It's a recruiting trip, man.
I think
we're lying to ourselves.
You don't happen to run into someone in Montana. The joke was Stafford's car just happened to break down, and Brady's home was the nearest cabin. Come on, stop. Use some common sense.
And then highlights of Raiders,
especially since Matthew Stafford. Truly, this is what happened when he got traded to the Rams, and it makes me feel even more likely he's going to get traded, because the same scenario it happened. If you go back and look, there was an article about this in Cabo. Whenever the year was he got traded, that Sean McVay was in Cabo the same time Stafford was. They just happened to run into each other. All the resorts that exist in Cabo, San Lucas, they just happen to be at the exact same one at the exact same time.
Rich people only go to the one.
That's right.
They only go to the one. There's no other mountains in Montana.
The same weekend, too. The exact same one. So then, last night, there's a report that there was a little media fight because of this. Oh, yeah, I love this stuff. This is good. In Indianapolis, this is from PFT. Per multiple sources who witnessed the interaction, Jordan Schultz of Fox, who, again, originally had the story, then Ian Rappaport, engaged a verbal altercation at a Starbucks inside of the JW Marriott in Indianapolis. Schultz, we're told, accosted Ian Rappaport. The incident actually was first reported by PFT commentator over at Barstool. The tweet then sparked speculation and effort to get to the bottom of the situation. According to this article, it says that Rappaport was talking to an agent in line at a Starbucks, as you would, Schultz approached Rappaport and said, "We need to talk." Rappaport replied, "We don't need to." Schultz then allegedly made accusations about Rappaport. Rappaport said those were unfounded. The two men essentially were face-to-face. Quote, "If you have anything to say to me, say it to my effing face," Schultz said, or specific words. "If this continues, we're going to have a effing problem." Rappaport then asked Schultz to step back. Schultz then responded, "If this happens again, we're going to have a effing problem. Now I'll step back." And that was the end of it. And in
I will say Ian Rappaport called security.
Why are you calling NFL security over this? You guys got it in a dumb media little tiff. You don't need to call NFL security. And the irony
Cops, please?
Yeah, that's weird. The irony of the whole thing, too, is Jordan Schultz.
Who we've had on the show, and I didn't realize this.
Yeah, we've had him on Radio Row. Seems like a nice guy, right? Jordan Schultz is the son of the former CEO of Starbucks. And the fact that this altercation occurred in a Starbucks is just perfection, honestly.
Like, I just can't understand how on earth, if I'm the NFL, I'm punishing them. And I'm that, like, because going back to this thing, it's leading to media fights. I can't be having this. First, it's hilarious. And you and I both know, I was at the Radio Row where two radio guys got into a fist fight and got kicked out of it.
Josh Ennis and Seth Payne from Houston, 610 Sports Radio in Houston or something. Yeah.
Media fights.
Stupid.
You want to know the epitome of all bark, no bite? That's pretty much 99.9% of media fights. Like, well, then it wouldn't mean anything if I threatened to beat somebody up over at the opposing station right now. I don't mean it.
I think I'm Team Schultz, though, on this whole thing.
I am, too.
Even though,
I think that they're covering the league's ass. Somebody correctly put on the text line that Tom Brady was involved in that Miami one that looked like maybe it was tampering. True. This is tampering. He's been accused of cheating before. They're cheating. So punish them for trying to cheat. Yeah. And I don't care if Stafford ends up in the division. It makes the division harder. But he might have ended up here.
He's
anyway.
37.
You didn't have to
so
cheat to do it.
He's 37. So even if it's a 3 or 4 year thing, it's not like Matthew Stafford's going to be in the division for a decade or something. But it's definitely an upgrade for the Raiders if that happens. But the media fight thing is just.
I think Schultz would win the fight for what it's worth.
Height wise too.
Rappaport's not a very big guy, and he called security. If you're the first person to call security, you're not winning the fight. You're calling security because you know you're going to lose the fight.
Yeah. Now, look, Schultz probably shouldn't have threatened to fight him over this. That's kind of silly. But it sounded like at first he's like, hey, man, we need to talk. Now, I don't know what the tone was. Like, we need to talk. And then
we need to talk is always coming with a certain tone.
Rappaport that's like, no, we don't. And then it was on from that point forward. I wish we were in the same Starbucks. And I wish somebody had video of that. The whole thing would have been great on video. Because I think Schultz would have been, towering over Ian Rappaport.
How tall is Jordan Schultz? Do we know? And did you have any idea that he was the son of a billionaire?
No, I didn't know that until last night. Makes sense now. Now it seems so obvious. Like Jordan Schultz,
he felt like he came out of nowhere on the NFL scene and kind of knew everybody all of a sudden. And I was like, who is this person?
Yeah, I mean,
how do they know everybody?
His dad's worth $3 billion or something. But that makes a little more sense with everything. But yes, the altercation occurring at the JW Marriott Starbucks when your dad was the former CEO of Starbucks is terrific. Terrific.
That's funny. You can't be getting.
It wasn't at a Dunkin'. No, it wasn't at a Dunkin'. It was at a Starbucks.
At least his dad isn't the CEO anymore, right? I mean, so, is it worse to get in a fight? You can't be getting a fight at your dad's job. You're getting a fight at the jewelry store or whatever.
Problem is, there's a ton of Starbucks. I don't know if you know. There's a bunch of locations. But that's just. I mean. The fact that everybody was around during that whole thing.
Let us know, 913-586-7965. I want to know whether or not
maybe Rappaport and Schultz need to be the next Barstool Rough and Rowdy since the Rocker and Mahomes one got canceled.
But nice.
Mahomes Sr., that is.
I mean, I will say, Rappaport didn't call him out by name at least. He just said despite other reports saying that it was an intentional meeting.
It's a little passive-aggressive, though.
Has anyone else sent it out other than the two NFL-related reporters?
Not that I've seen.
Again, that seems of note to me. I honestly think the NFL has enough grounds to punish. There's enough, if you keep getting in shady situations, one of these times we're going to punish you for continuously getting yourself in shady situations. There's a truth to the part of, they spend an entire year, in my opinion, changing all the rules that exist for owners to help out Tom Brady. And that is unnecessary. You can either play broadcaster or play owner. You don't get both. And if you get both, we don't make new rules for you. Which one do you want to be? Do you want to be owner of the Raiders or do you want to be Fox broadcaster? Most people have to make that choice. You need to make that choice or stop breaking the rules.
Even though it seems so obvious from the outside what happened, I still don't know if they can 100% prove that it wasn't a coincidental thing. Even though, again, we all can use common sense. I just don't know from a punishing a team kind of thing. Remember, the gray area that we don't know about, and it sounds like it still would apply, is that, okay, he was given permission, but I don't think...
I don't think you're allowed to just have one-on-one meetings with...
Your owner and the player can meet. The agent can call the owner. The agent can call the GM. The player maybe can be on a conference call. I didn't know you could just schedule, but they just happen to run into each other.
You're trying to tell me, I mean, he did his agent this exact same thing 5 years ago, and this just twice. What a coincidence. Twice in Matthew Stafford's career, he's happened to be at the same vacation destination of his intended team at the exact same time they were also on said vacation. And one time he chose Cabo, a decided warm weather beach location for February. And the next time he's like, I'm going to go to Montana this time. Come on.
I think the Montana one is more questionable. Where the Cabo one, there's a lot of people that go down there. A lot of popular people probably go to the same sort of place. Maybe they're into each other. But to go to Montana and happen to bump into Tom Brady of all people.
Must be some good skiing up there.
I mean, there's something up there.
The funniest end result of this is Jordan Schultz telling his dad to ban Ian Rappaport from
his
all
dad's
Starbucks.
not the CEO anymore.
Like, there's just a photo at all Starbucks banning Ian Rappaport.
They got a new CEO, though. His dad's not even the CEO anymore.
Hey, probably still has some pull, dude.
Yeah, I don't know.
I bet he still has some pull. He probably owns a lot of stock. He'll figure it out. So funny. Media fights are just so ridiculously dumb. Meanwhile, the NFL's actually trying to do real things.
Yeah, they're talking about some rules, Cody, and one of them, at this point, it makes a ton of sense just to do. Like, I know a few years ago when they changed the overtime rules, at least here in Kansas City, we're like, oh, this is because of the Josh Allen thing. But the NFL is talking about making the regular season overtime rules the same as the postseason. Remember, right now, Kyle Shanahan forgot about it, but in the postseason, they're different. And in the regular season, they're different. There's no reason for it not to be uniform. I'm totally behind this. Like, what?
It makes the games longer.
But how many? I'd have to go. How many overtimes games did we have?
And it went all the way to the end where somebody didn't score a.
I'm fine. If we're gonna have the rules in postseason where both teams get a possession, then fine. Have both teams get a possession in the regular season. We've already made the change. Just make it uniform. I have no problem.
Because I don't mind it being. I guess I don't like. This is a bad thing to say on the radio. I'm not offended if it's either way.
Okay.
So let me hear. I'll give you the argument for why not change it. For the same reason I've been interested in college basketball for implementing the Elam rule in the regular season, but doing it is all the leagues are doing one thing right now. The big kick in the league and Major League Baseball and NFL's actually trying to do this with the chain gang stuff, which we can talk about in a minute. Which is they're trying to reduce the amount of time their game is on the television. They can't let their game take 4.5 hours. It's a low risk, but there will be times in which this lengthens the amount of time a game takes to be over because of that. So if they just and in the final thing, we can solve this thing as long as we want. It's the playoffs. We don't care. Take forever. Take all the time you want. We want an equal playing field there. You got 17 games to make things equal on the other side. We don't care that you got stiffed in week 4 because you let up a touchdown on the other team. Tough. You got another 13 games to solve that problem. Versus the playoffs, we're saying it matters more. We'll give everyone an equal shot. So, like, if they changed it, I don't care, Gold. But, like,
I just don't think
it
comes into play very often. Let's just have the same rule for the postseason as the regular season. We've already made the adjustment.
Baseball did that with a runner on second. Like, we didn't know if they were going to carry that into the postseason at first. And at first I felt the same way, which is like, if you get rid of it in the postseason, it's fine. You're saying, we're playing normal baseball now, but now we're all just used to it. The runner on second is normal baseball in extra innings. That's the way the game is played. It's an equal opportunity for both teams. They want runs. And if you were saying a team goes down and scores a touchdown in overtime, it does create for a dramatic effect because if Mahomes goes down and scores a touchdown, every fourth down they're going for, every try they have to go for, they know they're up against it. So, like, it does create a little drama. I'm just saying, like, I don't mind if rules are slightly different in the regular and the postseason to favor, like, we got to get through these games, right? Like 160 games. We got to get through these games, okay? And then to the postseason, the rules being a little bit different because there's a finite number of them.
The other one that I think is a potentially bigger shift, at least optically, and that is the NFL plans to implement an electronic system to measure first downs this upcoming season. Now, the chain gang will still be there as a safety valve, basically, for this entire thing, right? Like, if all of a sudden technology goes down, they still have the chain gang. They did this in the preseason, and I remember there were a couple broadcasts that had it. They got to work on the broadcast element of it because it just looked really weird when all of a sudden they would just plop a graphic up on the screen and you just saw slowly this little meter move. Like, they got to get a little better on the graphic department for this.
You wanted to, like, have a little more.
I want some more drama with it and some more whatever. A
little more Hawkeye feel.
But this, I saw like a lot of people on social media were saying, oh, well, now the Bills, their issue that they had in the AFC title game is solved. No, it's not. This isn't changing how the ball is spotted. A human being is still spotting the ball. The only difference is we're going to have an electronic chain gang. So
once it's spotted, that electronic thing would have measured it all out. Correct. It's still been short.
The spot is still going to be the spot. Nothing is changing there. So this is more of a visually altering rule change than anything. Like the spot of the ball, there's not now another chip in the football to get a better
but
spot.
It's one step closer in the technology game, which they desperately need to employ. The fact that they still have two dudes holding sticks connected by a chain 10 yards apart in 2025.
And players get
We've
hurt.
had the iPhone for 15 years.
And players get hurt by it. And players get hurt sometimes by the chain. Now, but again, the chain gang is still going to be there. They're just not going to have a job for unless there's a thing that fails.
Sweet ass gig.
Always.
You just like
always
hang out.
has been.
You don't even have to. But now you're not even working. Now nobody even cares.
You still have to set. You don't have to go out on the field, but you still have to set it right. I did the chain gang once. Have you ever done the chain gang before?
No.
Not an NFL game, Cody, but like
well, I gathered.
I've done a chain
That'd
gang.
Be impressive.
I did it at a junior high football game before. More stressful than you think. A little more stressful than you think, man. You don't want to screw up and slow the pace of the game down. You know, Matt Mahomes is trying to go hurry up, and all of a sudden you fall on your ass in the chain gang.
What were you doing it for?
A junior high game when I was in junior high. Okay. I was the mascot for one game. I was chain gang for a game. You know, I was everything. Whatever they needed, man. Whatever they needed.
You do everything, guy.
The chain gang. Yeah.
Renaissance man.
Mm-hmm. Drew, you ever do the chain gang?
They never asked me to do that.
No, I never did the chain gang.
I held for part of the game, I just held the down marker.
Nice.
And the other part, I actually had to move 10 yards forward kind of thing. And then you put a little clip thing or whatever to make sure it's marked.
Make sure it's there? No, never done it. You're more experienced than most, it sounds like, in the chain gang.
Hey, Chiefs, NFL, if you need some help this year, I'm there. I'm there, especially now that I don't actually have to do as much.
Yeah, I mean, that part certainly helps. It's early, but because we have Snitchline later in the show, let's get to a random question.
Random question.
Going to throw everyone off today. You're going to think it's later in the day. Well, we're going to do Snitchline today at 1 o'clock. We have Vern on every day during the normal random question time while he's down in Surprise. So I figured for the people who don't normally get one in the 10 o'clock hour, how about a random question? So for you, Gold, for you, Drew, on the text line, 913-586-7965, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and Facebook, please like, subscribe to our channels over there if you want to catch the show on video. Real simple today due to the tragic passing of Gene Hackman, who, if everybody didn't see, passed away earlier today. Him and his wife were found dead in their home, which is obviously devastating. He is one of Hollywood's icons, obviously. And so do you remember for everything? Just give me your top 1 or 2 Gene Hackman movies. That's the random question today. What are your favorite Gene Hackman movies?
So I'm not saying these are his best. I'm just telling the ones that I enjoyed.
Your favorite.
So for whatever reason, it's not even a great movie.
Is it Replacements? Is that what you're going to say?
Well, no. So that's definitely one of them.
Okay.
Because I've watched, out of Gene Hackman movies, which ones have I watched the most is kind of what I'm basing this off of.
Okay.
So
that's up there. Enemy of the State is probably the one that you mentioned. Like, I've seen kind of an infinite number of times.
Yeah.
So like
Hoosiers
it's a movie
too,
I
man.
really.
A lot of the sports ones, obviously, I saw.
Overrated.
Yeah, you don't like
I don't wanna
Hoosiers.
get into that,
Enemy of State is another one.
My number one probably of all time is the Royal Tenenbaums, but that's because I'm a big Wes Anderson fan.
Fair. What about you, Drew? We'll get to some texts.
Well, the only ones that I've seen, after you brought it up, I was like, okay, I don't exactly know who Gene Hackman is. So
wow, Drew.
I had to Google him.
Dang, you've seen some of his movies. He's been in way too many.
Yes, I've seen. Well, the only ones that I have seen, I've looked are Hoosiers.
Okay.
And then he's not in this movie. He's more voice. He's doing the voice lines.
Oh gosh, you gonna say Ants or something?
I was gonna say the movie Ants.
I got to assume that Drew, based on being born in Indiana and liking basketball, he has to answer Hoosiers. Just by law, they'll ban you from returning to the state.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean Hoosiers is an obvious classic, shot in Hinkle Fieldhouse and everything. You know the history of that nature. So Hoosiers is an all-timer.
A lot of people saying Crimson Tide. I've seen Superman. Also, another Enemy of State, and then someone said Behind the Many Lines is the effing best movie ever. I don't know why I've watched that movie way too many times.
It's a lot of the comedy stuff, like based on how our age is. I think some of that stuff we ran into like the older part of his career. So I remember like one of the movies that I've seen of his a lot. They used to run in reruns a lot. Welcome to Mooseport with Ray Romano. I've seen that
Ray Romano,
dude. They're like running against each other in a local election. Like I've seen that a few times over the years. Even.
Mooseport. Welcome to Mooseport. Maybe I've seen that on like clips of that. I don't know if I've watched the full movie, but yeah, there's some that go way further back than for you and I.
Like I don't remember him as Lex Luthor in Superman. I didn't watch those old Supermans.
Right.
But, he goes way. I mean, he's got kind of an endless.
I mean, he must have been in 50 freaking movies. Like
Crimson Tide. Him and Denzel Washington. Talk about a powerhouse movie. Like you got them together in scenes, and you've never seen any of these. Drew, he's so young. Watch it. You know what? In honor of Gene Hackman, you should watch a Gene Hackman movie tonight. Like a classic, like Crimson Tide, or like you should watch one of the ones that everybody knows and has watched.
I was gonna say I might have to text my wife.
Oh wait, you said you're more of a movie, right, than TV? You said. Oh, no, other way around.
I'm more TV than movie. I'm better now with movies.
He's never seen a James Bond movie. We learned that last week when you were gone.
Yeah, somebody said I've never seen the original.
I've
never seen the original Superman with Christopher Reeves. No, I have not.
Ants is a heck of a pull, by the way, Drew.
Ants
the fact that you went with his voice acting role in Ants.
It's a good movie.
1998 Ants. Ants and A Bug's Life came out around the same time. As a kid,
somebody
I definitely
ripped off
watched those.
somebody there. They're the identical movies.
Yeah. I liked Ants better.
Really?
I think
you
Bugs
might
Life
be the
is
only person.
I liked
who
Ants
feels that
better.
way.
Yeah.
I think Ants is a really good movie, but I think Bugs Life is just a classic. So it's
French Connection. There's so many of these that I would probably have to go. I wonder if I would like in.
Evidently, I'm more of like
an
an animated like kids movie. Like I can still go on to Disney Plus and find a good animated little 19 whatever movie, a 90s movie or like a 70s movie that was animated that I watched growing up, and I'm down.
Yeah, but obviously really sad news today, and it sounds like based on some reporting, no foul play suspected. So a lot of people are wondering, was it unfortunately like a carbon monoxide poisoning? Because his wife and the dog also all passed away, and they were doing a welfare check and found the three of them. So terrible update. Gene Hackman, 95 years old, passing away.
Great career.
Great career. Up next, let's talk about the stadium front, though, because Mayor Q was on with CDOT the other day. Fesco had some updates today. Where do things stand, including one interesting tidbit we learned today when it comes to what team might be talking more to the city of KC Mo? That's next.
Cody and Gold, brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com. Follow the station on Instagram for ticket giveaways and behind-the-scenes content from the show at The Fan 965.
Guys, could you benefit a little bit extra in the bedroom? I think we all could. Blue Chew can help. It's your secret weapon for the bedroom or wherever you decide to get it on. Your partner wants you to do whatever it takes to make your sex life better. You know, pro athletes, they train every single day to perform better on the field. You can improve your performance in the bedroom with no training required. I'm talking about Blue Chew. Blue Chew's tablets are a performance enhancement for the bedroom and can help men gain extra confidence when it's time to perform. It's an online prescription service. There's no visits to the doctor's office, no awkward conversations, no waiting in line at the pharmacy, and it ships right to your door in a discreet package. You can work with the licensed medical providers to find the right ingredient and strength for your prescription. You don't like swallowing pills? It doesn't matter because Blue Chew's tablets are chewable. If you could benefit from extra confidence when it's time to perform, visit BlueChew.com. Ready for a great offer? How about free? Go to BlueChew.com, consult with a licensed medical provider, and get your first month free. Then you'll be ready to chew it and do it.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-518-3899. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-518-3899. That's 800-518-3899. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Has your home been on the market without success? An expired listing can feel frustrating, but it doesn't have to be the end of your journey. The Sharp Homes team specializes in turning things around. Contact my friend Dawn Sharp if you're looking to buy or sell a home. Dawn and her team are brokered by Epic Realty, and they've sold over 150 homes in the last 12 months alone. Plus, they can give you options. If you want to skip the showings and open houses and go straight to sold, you can do that with their instant offer program. Google them at Sharp Homes Team or visit them at homesforsaleInKC.com.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment. and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
You're listening to the all-new 96.5 The Fan, your home for Kansas City sports. KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
11 o'clock hour here on Cody and Gold. Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon with you. Of course, the show is streaming on video as well. If you're checking out YouTube, be sure to subscribe. YouTube, subscribe there. Makes it way easier for you to access the show, any of the shows here on 96.5 The Fan. Of course, you can also watch on Twitch, Facebook, X.
We don't care wherever
you
listen, watch, consume the show. We just like that you consume it. As a reminder, you guys consumed it so much in the final 3 months of last year that we were given some money by the company. They're like, wow, what a job. And we said, because you guys technically, we wouldn't have the money unless you listened to the show, that we would turn that into a tab. So next Friday, March 7th, 6:30 at Kelly's, we'll have a $1,000 bar tab. Chipped in $750 on our end, but $250 on the Sazerac, the boys over there helping us out. So I was told, by the way, it doesn't have to just be, remember, originally it was $250 just in fireball shots. They said they're also willing to make a mule with their vodka. So, you know, we're not like, you don't have to do $250 worth of fireball shots, Cold, if you weren't thinking that was the number you were going to try to hit.
Yeah, I wasn't planning on $250 worth of fireball shots. I would like to still be alive by the end of the evening.
Plus, they're coming in next Friday to make cocktails for us.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. So, but we'll keep telling you guys a couple Fridays from now, a week from this Friday. Hope to see you out at Kelly's in Westport. All right, let's talk about the future of the Royals and Chiefs and where they're going to be. You guys know pretty much daily there's new updates. Fesco's done a great job reporting on this. I'm sure you caught some of that this morning. Yesterday in Jefferson City, it was reported that this meeting was pending, right? We knew that on Monday, that yesterday was going to be the day where there's going to be a meeting in Jefferson City. And Bob mentioned who was there and who wasn't there. It makes it seem like that meeting, honestly, I don't put much stock into it. He said that Mayor Q wasn't even there, and of course Frank White wasn't there.
It was the last meeting he attended for this stuff.
Well, that meeting's irrelevant to me as far as I'm concerned. That happened in Jefferson City yesterday. If the mayor of KC Mo wasn't there and the Jackson County executive, who's never going to be part of the process, it seems like, wasn't there, well then what was really accomplished with the meeting yesterday?
Nothing?
It couldn't have been that big of a meeting.
Nothing? I mean, look, there's another meeting today, so maybe it's the meeting before the meeting. Anybody who's worked in corporate America.
Yeah, the mayor is meeting with the governor separately today.
You have to have a lot of different meetings in order to accomplish anything, apparently, based on that. Look, there's a couple of interesting things coming out right now as the rumors start to swirl, and people just start saying the things. Like Mayor Q, for instance, was over on KCMO radio earlier today and said that the Royals have continued to talk to the mayor's office significantly more than the Chiefs on that end, which is, again, in line with
Makes
what
sense.
I feel like it's all going towards. In hearing who the meetings are taking place with, that the Chiefs would have to not just get commitments from the city and from a county, but from the state and and maybe a vote if it were on the Missouri side. Kansas, I think the Chiefs have a lot of hurdles to make Missouri work. And I think the Chiefs have way less hurdles if they go to Kansas and already have some of the funding mechanisms in place, already have a site picked out somewhere near the Legends that would work for them and everything else in between. I feel like we're starting to head towards, as Q starts to talk about the Royals, talking with them more, them seemingly having more meetings on the Missouri side. It's starting to feel like my lean is Royals in Missouri, Chiefs in Kansas. And for a while,
Doesn't
maybe felt like it was going that way.
Isn't that back to where we were at the very beginning of this
but I was
thing?
like back and forth as I couldn't tell, which side was making the progress.
The other thing, though, that is clear, and when the mayor was on, you mentioned 95.7, that there's no way you can get this thing to a public vote again and think it's going to pass. And therefore, I don't think we're going to see a public vote. And the mayor basically acknowledged that this morning.
How can you win? I mean, if the Royals, even if it was the most beautiful stadium in the part of town most popular,
it won't pass, Cody. The only scenario I could see is the Royals have already left and the Chiefs not involved in these, because they can't get anything done when the Jackson County executive is not going to play a role at all.
No, and that's the problem. He's made it very clear there is no deal. I think at this point he's made it clear there's no deal he'll accept. Like, I don't think there's a term you can offer Frank White other than, we'll pay for 100% and you can just keep it in your county, Frank, that he would agree to at this stage. Because there's been no indication, any budge or willingness to move or things outside of that would indicate momentum. And as correctly pointed out by, I think, everybody, we've been talking about it for months as it relates to the stadium thing, they got other problems in the county. Like, they've been dealing with this tax stuff over property taxes for months and months and months, and that's still not solved. And, like, they're going to have to keep running into those problems and how to, get through those solutions. Like, it's just not an easy task right now.
The one interesting update on Kansas is, and so somebody I know in Topeka just kind of said, hey, take a look at this. And basically anybody can access this. It's public knowledge. If you just go to the Kansas legislature, website or whatever, you can see like what bills are being discussed on certain days and things like that. And today there just happens to be Senate Bill 108. You're like, what is Senate Bill 108? Senate Bill 108 is a bill that would allow counties to impose an earnings tax in the state of Kansas. And right now there's a hearing, actually, it was scheduled to take place at 9:30. I do not know if that started on time or not. I did not check, but Senate Bill 108. It's in the early stages of this. It's still in committee, so it's not even been on the Senate floor or anything like that to take a vote.
In the early stages.
But in the bill, basically to sum it up, it would allow Johnson or a Wyandotte County, let's say, to have a up to 1% earnings tax. Why would they all of a sudden want to do that, Cody? Perhaps the star bonds aren't enough to just cover one or both of the teams.
Correct.
And so, this doesn't mean it's going to happen, but I believe I have it in front of me, the senator Senator Haley, who is representing KCK, the KCK area, District 4, is who's behind this bill. One to watch, but yeah,
it's so funny
because there's a hearing today.
From the 816 said, hey, Jackson County's got a huge property tax issue. No one's going to vote for more taxes. People do vote for more taxes, even for luxury things on occasion. But I actually don't disagree with him here, because here's the problem with if you live in Jackson County as it relates to the teams specifically versus the Royals just working this out behind closed doors. Essentially, to keep the Royals right now in Jackson County because of the property tax thing, it feels like you're being quadruple taxed. I'm getting screwed on my property taxes. I have to pay. If I'm in Jackson County, I also live in Kansas City proper, which means I'm paying the 1% earning tax to go with it. Now I got to pay this additional tax to pay for the team to stay in here. It just feels like you're getting hit from all sides. And at a time, like just straight up, where inflation's high and all those other things, good luck. Good luck if you're the Royals trying to take that thing to a ballot in November, because it ain't going to pass.
And nobody's going to approve something with big spending at this point.
You could announce it tomorrow, and I could spend nothing but 4 hours every day on this show just saying glowing things about it. Everybody in the city could say the nicest things about it for 4 hours, and I still don't think it'd pass. That's the problem. Is that like that's why it feels like they still have to work these things out. That's why it's like, is it a meeting that moved the thing? No. Do they have to have a lot of these meetings to make sure everyone's on board with doing this thing behind closed doors versus leaving it up to the public? Yeah, I think there are probably going to be a number of these. But I know big things with a lot of money.
At this point, like they want to have a sports authority in place just in case. I don't know. I don't think it's much to.
They really, they don't have the tax base, but they really, really want the Royals to take them serious. I did think, I'll going back to that, I did think the stadium design in Clay County was cool. Of all the stadium renderings, I thought that
the
one
Royals
looked,
right across.
That one looked cool.
With downtown in the backdrop? Yeah.
It looked cool. I mean, it was never going to work.
I love renderings, Can't go wrong with renderings.
Big rendering guy.
Big rendering guy over here.
I can't wait till we get a new rendering the next time that they announce either renovations to Arrowhead again, a new stadium, or whatever Kauffman Stadium's going to move to.
Yeah.
Ugh, such a mess. I was thinking about yesterday, we've had a couple of the Royals players on. We're going to have Michael Massie on in an hour.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about Jack Caglione, Cags, as he prefers to be called, apparently, based on being on the show.
He said that works.
So our guy, Vinny, he was over on Instagram the other day, and he posted a photo, an aggressively Italian photo, probably is the answer, on Instagram, where him and...
What is aggressively Italian,
Well,
Cody?
I think that's what he's trying to look. They're trying to look like old mobster Italian tough guys.
Okay.
Is kind of the impression I got based on the photo. They're both like in white tank tops, shorts, arms crossed, leaning back. Vinny's making kind of like a serious face. It's a funny photo. You should go check it out on Instagram. It obviously is enjoyable to see. Plus, People like to imagine what it's like for have Vinny and Cags together in a lineup. I think it is imperative that this show get on this now so that we can all agree before he gets called up into the bigs later, and we know. I think Vinny Pasquantino and Jack Caglione need a combined nickname together.
Oh.
And I'll say...
So not separate. What you want to have like the duo as a name.
Okay, so like we can immediately eliminate the obvious one, which is Bash Brothers, which existed in the 90s, but also like is a current nickname of two hockey players who are brothers, the Tkachuk brothers, right? So let's eliminate that one off the table. And I think I brought this to the people because I figured we could workshop it. Here are some of the ones that have been, there are a couple that were suggested to me on social media, and here's a couple that were suggested that I thought of that I think maybe could also work, and I want to take some suggestions. 913-586-7965 is the text line. Someone suggested the nickname Goodfellas for the two of them. They are together the Goodfellas. Aggressive enough? What do we think?
I don't think that's gonna. I don't think that one will stick, and I don't. Yeah, no.
Okay,
Great movie.
Great movie. Just tossing it out there.
Great movie.
Someone suggested they're a combination of Gaba and Ghoul. They are Gabagool, which I don't think someone wants to be the Ghoul part of that, so I was hesitant on it. Somebody suggested you call them the Wise Guys. My current suggestion is Heavy Hitters. Sounds like a couple of old tough mob guys with a baseball bat. They hit in the middle of the order. They both hit the ball hard. They're a couple of heavy hitters. But I'm open to suggestions. This is why I want to do it. Someone suggested Italian Delight, suggesting the local restaurant place as well.
So
maybe a little too on the nose.
Heavy hitters is just like, but I can say about like, the Yankees have a bunch of heavy hitters in their lineup.
But they're
like,
together.
I know, but
they're two Italian guys.
That's too generic, though, almost.
Too generic.
Yeah, like heavy hitters, we say that about a lot of teams. Like, they got some heavy hitters there, 3 and 4 in their lineup. Like, that's just a baseball phrase anyway.
That's why I thought it worked in a couple of different areas, if that makes sense. Somebody said the Spicy Boys, the Italian Hitmen, the Italianos. None of these are. I mean, come on, guys. We can
Cag Squad.
This is a lot like Creed is Good. We once took that to you, and we eventually came up with what was the best hashtag to go with this. I think if we think about this as a group.
Yeah, let's ask Michael Massie about this.
We can come up with a collective nickname. I tried to think of a way to combine their names of Caglione and Pasquantino. It's just too much. Pasquione. It's just like it doesn't.
Said the Cag Squash doesn't work.
I feel because you mentioned Bash Bros. I replied to your tweet and said Smash Bros. Obviously after the Mario.
Also not bad. I don't hate Smash Bros.
But I don't know if that's too
copyrighted.
Similar to that plus copywritten as well. Yes.
I don't mind it though. I don't mind it. It's like it's up in there. We got a mob history in this town too.
We do.
There's no way there's not an excellent nickname for these two people combined. Now, see, a lot of people are just trying to combine their names like Jack Squatch. That just sounds weird, right? I don't know. Does that one move the needle for anybody? Someone says the Jabronis. I'm really open to a lot of different suggestions here. What do you think?
Yeah, you can't. People are saying you can still take the Bash Bros. No, you can't. It's already being used.
It's being actively used in the NHL. I think it's too. I think it's too much.
Is there a copyright on Smash Bros?
I mean, the game. I'm assuming Nintendo's a pretty big.
I was going to say I would assume
probably.
Nintendo.
But I mean, if we're just calling them that, I mean, they're not going to sue us for calling them that.
Well, as long as you don't start trying to sell T-shirts.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I probably.
So that's the issue.
We do that sometimes on this show.
Super Smash Bros.
That's also
is a trademark of Nintendo of America. So is it?
But not
similar?
Smash Bros.
According to this, it says Super Smash Bros. Is copywritten.
Play the little Nintendo angle. I guess part of it is
it would be really cool if Jack's because Vinny. I mean, he has his Volk-Up song, but it turns into you do the.
I think you got to be very careful with some of these nicknames, my man.
Here's the tough part with the Smash Bros. Or some of these other is I definitively when I was imagining it, like I understand why you guys lean towards Bash Brothers. You see that photo of them, it feels like a 90s poster that hung up on your wall with like Bo Jackson on the back. Like it feels like it's supposed to be like a 90s sports poster. And if you put Bash Brothers, that looks cool. Smash Bros though, maybe. We're anti that. We're anti Smash Bros.
Yeah, I haven't heard one that I like.
Somebody put in a suggestion I'm about to do actually. Somebody says, ask ChatGPT to make a good nickname. So I'm about to do that right now and see what it pops up.
We're going to trust ChatGPT with our future now? It's a risk.
I'm just asking for suggestions.
I mean, that's true. I mean, I don't care where it comes. Like, I don't care where the nickname comes from. I'm not like beholden to one nickname versus another. I just feel like the perfect nickname is out there. Multiple people keep suggesting the meatballs.
Yeah, we don't need to be just the most stereotypical. Like, we got to be careful here. My goodness.
You're saying we can't go too close to it.
Yeah, why does it have to? Yeah, I understand what you're going for, but like,
I don't think Italian delight offends me.
This is an example.
Calling him, Michael Massie posted a photo of him eating a meatball sub in the locker room yesterday.
All right, so you
clearly likes him.
You want to know what ChatGPT came up with?
Sure.
It says, how about Cags and Vin Diesel? Cags is already Jack's nickname, plus Vin Diesel plays off of Vinny Pasquantino's name and his power at the plate.
That's their suggestion?
That's a pretty poor suggestion, I would say. It says it's got a solid ring to it. No, it does not. You're taking somebody's name.
Man, that's tough.
It's not a good nickname.
No, you can't just. A nickname cannot just be somebody else's name.
Correct.
I'm kind of with you on that. True.
It's a terrible suggestion.
I'm kind of
ChatGPT.
That's. Do they have another one? Say, give me a better one.
No, that was the only one. Here, let me.
Okay. All right, we'll keep looking for suggestions. I'm open. 913-586-7965. See, Kramer, I think that's what Kramer just sent us a text, who works over at our sister station. I think that's what Gold's trying to avoid. That nickname is what I believe Gold is trying to avoid.
I didn't see that.
It's via text.
Oh, I'll have to check.
Phone. A lot of people suggesting meatball. Are we on to something there? Are you sure we can't use meatballs? I can ask Vinny what he thinks. Maybe they already have a nickname in the clubhouse, you know?
So they gave me...
Do you think we have to get approval from Vinny? Does he have to agree with the nickname? Or do we just, proceed forward?
Someone said, how about this? The Mangia Mashers nod to Italian culture while also they're power hitting.
Hack Squad. What about that? Take hacks? What do you think about that? Nothing? Feels like a computer guy? I'm just giving you choices.
Mm-hmm.
You don't seem to like any of them. Meatballs might be the one I like the best, or Smash Bros.
Yeah.
I still think heavy hitters works. I get your point that it's that's a generally used term, but we can just readopt it for those two.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just keep it in mind. That's all I'm asking. I'm just asking everyone to keep thinking on this because I'd like us to be ahead of the game on this. And then maybe we can maybe there could be a cool t-shirt we give away or something. We like doing stuff like that on the show. Maybe we can make the 90s poster. We don't know. We have options here. Someone called them Pasta La Vista Bros. I don't think we can do that. But I kind of like, God, see, I want to lean more into that. No good? Pasta La Vista? What if there was a shirt, just hypothetically, if there was a shirt or a poster, let's not even say it's their nickname. If I made a poster of that photo of Vinny Pasquantino and Jack Caglione from his Instagram page in the white tank tops with their arms crossed, and it was and the background looked like that 90s sports poster, and in those big block letters we're familiar with said Pasta La Vista, people would put that on their wall, and I'm convinced.
Oh, yeah.
People would put that on their wall.
I think from the 816, this wraps everything up correctly. Gold silence is very loud.
Is it?
He's trying to stay out of trouble here.
You barely said anything.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
The spaghetti spankers. Okay.
Let's get to the trash of the day, please. Let's do that.
We're in trouble.
Trash of the day.
All right, trash of the day. We go to a gentleman who's been to all 197 countries, all right? 197 countries.
Yeah, a lot of free time.
Yeah, a lot of money, I guess, to be able to pull this off. And so he put out the 5 worst countries. I guess if there's anybody I should trust, it's someone that's been to 197 countries. They should know which ones stink overall. So here we go. You think you can guess any of these, by the way? Would there be a country at all you would guess? You think it's just, probably not one you want to visit?
I'm going to guess Chad.
A war-torn country would probably be.
Chad is on the list, Drew.
Is it really?
What made you?
That was a very specific country.
Isn't Chad the biggest the largest country in Africa? I think that's the reason why. It was always funny because its name is Chad.
This guy's name is Drew Binsky, and he went to he said these are the 5 countries he did not enjoy visiting. Djibouti.
Okay.
All right. Also, that one happens to be in East Africa. It's right on the Horn of Africa. So he said he claimed that he had problems with his money upon arrival at the resorts and airports, that there wasn't a whole lot going on while walking around the streets. He said despite the large military presence, the YouTuber claimed he felt unsafe while traveling through the country, complaining that it was obnoxiously expensive. And that's Djibouti. Then number 2, Drew, was the country you guessed, Chad.
Wow.
This one, it says landlocked country. He was separated from his friend while riding on a motorcycle taxi. He said he ended up in a police chase due to the motorcycle being stolen that he was actually riding on. He didn't know it was stolen, but he ends up in a police chase. Later got involved in a brawl after he took a photograph of a child. I don't know. He said, normally I get approved for the parents.
Maybe don't take a photo of someone's kid.
And it turned into a huge
That
problem.
doesn't feel like a you problem.
A guy threatened to take out a knife.
Oh, boy.
He said he left early. Yeah, he was up for giving Chad another chance, citing the interest in a festival, week-long celebration of courtship in the north portion of the country. The other one is Brunei. Is it Brunei? Is that how you pronounce it?
Brunei, yeah.
This was the only country in Asia that he went to. He said, despite remarking the land of unexpected treasures was an interesting place, the YouTuber explained that he found the place unwelcoming and he got kicked out of multiple places.
Okay.
Another one, Guyana was another one.
Guyana, okay.
Yeah, whatever, yeah. Guyana. Over to South Africa for the 5th and final country. He said it's bordered by Brazil. It's the second least populous sovereign state on the continent, one of the least densely populated countries. He said, as well as hosting part of the rainforest, he felt very unsafe, saying that his hostel owner that he stayed at told him not to go outside after 7 o'clock.
7?
7, not 10, but 7.
Okay, well, that's good to know. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've never been to any of those places. I wouldn't have.
The fact that they did this
Wherever
is pretty
the murder
crazy.
capital is, that's where I'm trying to avoid, right? What's the murder capital of the world?
Is that in Venezuela or somewhere? I don't know.
I think it used to be. Oh, I can't remember. We had to look at. This feels like the kind of thing that make you look up in middle school when you're learning about countries. So I don't know. I don't even know what it is in the U.S., let alone what it is in the world. According to this, it's in, these are a bunch of cities. I need to know a country. There are a few in Mexico. Mexico is currently the highest homicide rate per 50, according to Wikipedia. I apologize. I didn't know. Man.
197 countries.
Someone said St. Louis.
Dang.
About the world. I always appreciate a good St. Louis joke on this show.
Someone said, trash of the day, they want us to just go through the cities. The cities, they must mean Kansas or Kansas City. They said, let's do cities in KC. Cities, KC is a city. So.
Or around KC, maybe
Kansas
the
City?
suburbs.
Counties? You want us to break down
suburbs, maybe? Yeah. Olathe, Shawnee, Leewood.
With those
Lee Summit.
Are you naming these as being the worst, or are you just naming counties?
No. I'm listing suburbs of KC.
I was like, are those the ones you think are the most dangerous? Or
No.
Your least favorite?
Someone said, did this guy went to North Korea and he didn't list it as a top 5 worst country? I guess not. Must have
been polite and clean. He thought, sure, that sounds fine.
That would be that actually is a good question. Did you actually go there?
He said he went to 197 countries.
So.
In fairness, some of the countries he listed are not quite third world, but pretty darn close. I would say.
Did he go to Vatican City?
I don't know.
Counts?
Not sure. What's the latest on the Pope? Do we know?
Yeah, he was sick, right? He had
still
pneumonia
around?
or something?
Is the Pope still kicking?
I mean, I think I'd know if the Pope died.
I would think we would know.
That's a tough one to miss, man. The Pope?
I don't know, man. I know things weren't looking good.
Yeah, that's a tough one to miss. I don't think you just missed that one on accident.
Okay. We would know is what you're saying.
Yeah, I think we know.
Would you guys be up for something like that? Traveling to all
the...
the...
sounds like the Pope?
No,
meeting the Pope? Or being Pope? I don't think I'm up for being the Pope. That feels like a big job that I'm not interested in. Traveling to a bunch of countries? Sure, that sounds cool.
Mm-hmm. All right, that is the trash of the day. Up next, we'll get to the Chiefs Red Half Hour. The league found something about quarterbacks and narratives that were out there. There's some proof now that perhaps everybody was wrong. Who knew? Next.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5, The Fan, brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
College basketball is reaching its most exciting stretch of the season. Right now, new customers on FanDuel get $150 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That's $150 extra bucks to bet on everything from conference clashes to tournament upsets and even who's cutting down the nets. We mentioned Kansas State had a game last night. Looks like they're going to have to win a Big 12 tournament in order to get in. You can take a look at some of the odds over on FanDuel right now. Who's going to win the Big 12 tournament and ultimately the regular season crown in some of these other conferences. And if you've been waiting to join FanDuel, there's no better time than right now. The app, well, it's easy to use, and when you win, you're going to get paid instantly. Just visit FanDuel.com/Alex and get in on the college hoops action before March takes over. FanDuel is an official sports betting partner of 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
A body in motion stays in motion until you feel that muscle tighten. KRT helps you get back in action with all natural pain relief in just minutes. Learn more at krtrelief.com.
Folks, it's time to rev up your engines and get ready for a wild ride for Ford Truck Month. And who better to bring you all the excitement than my favorite Ford dealer in Kansas City, Rob Seid of Rob Seid Ford in South Kansas City. Hey, Rob, what's going on?
Hey, Kevin. There are a lot of F-150s out there, but you're not going to find a better deal than Rob Seid Ford's $15,500 off brand new F-150s. That's right, $15,500 off. These savings only happen during Truck Month at Rob Seid Ford, so now is not the time to wait.
Rob Seid Ford is on fire.
Best price and best inventory at Rob Seid Ford. So many F-150s in stock. Don't wait because they won't last long. Biggest savings, best trade-in offers, all part of the Kevin Harlan VIP experience at Rob Seid Ford.
And I appreciate that. Like I've said before, Bobby, nothing compares to the quality and the professionalism at Rob Seid Ford.
Rob Seid Ford, 135th and State Line, ROBSIGHT.com.
And Doug. Quickly, Moo. We don't have much time. This Liberty ad is already almost over. We only have a few precious seconds to remind people to customize their car insurance and save hundreds with Liberty Mutual. Okay. Well, I guess we had more time than I thought.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Savings vary. Underwritten by Liberty Mutual Insurance Company and affiliates. Excludes Massachusetts.
Wouldn't you like to take a vacation from your bills? Well, you can. With credit card balances at an all-time high and Golden Oak's 5.25% rate, you could be saving thousands of dollars after a simple phone call. Call today and get your cash in as little as 14 days and make no payments for 2 months. Call 913-890-GOLD.
Golden Oak Landing, cured my blues.
6.19 APR, FHA, 15-year, 20% equity qualified credit. Additional terms apply. NMLS 114937.
Check engine light on? Take the guesswork out of your check engine light with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Getting your guaranteed maximum refund with TaxSlayer feels like discovering a refund tree has grown in your backyard.
I'm the refund tree.
Sawing off its branches.
Hey.
Feeding them through a wood chipper.
My branches! My beautiful branches!
And dancing in its refund rain. Start for free and get your guaranteed maximum refund. TaxSlayer. File fearlessly.
Welcome to TGL, presented by SoFi. Golf's newest league, live on ESPN and ESPN Plus. It's 2 hours of hammer-dropping, overtime forcing, playoffs on the line golf, Tiger, Rory, and more of the best from the PGA Tour, split into 6 teams. Learn more at TGLGolf.com. Tune in every week for TGL matches. Keep up, it's golf.
Hi, it's me, your USPS Ground Advantage shipment. Just left the warehouse.
I know, just got the notification.
Made it.
Yes, I know. I get all the updates.
Stay in the know with USPS Ground Advantage service. Visit USPS.com/in-the-know.
Choose Syntec Full Synthetic Motor Oil designed for today's engines exclusively at your O'Reilly Auto Parts store or O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Here is your game of the week. Presented by Hyundai. Another incredible Saturday of college basketball is in store as there are 5 top 25 matchups on the slate. Alabama will travel to Tennessee to face off in a top 10 matchup with seeding for the conference tournament on the line. Alabama has the fastest pace of play in the nation, while Tennessee is content with one of the slowest paces in the country. Who will be able to control the game as 2 heavyweights battle for the conference tournament seeding? Don't let the urge to sing along to that catchy tune distract you from that truck drifting toward your lane or that lane-splitting biker creeping up beside you. Fortunately, every Hyundai offers advanced safety features that can alert you to potential dangers around you, and Hyundai has over 120 IIHS top safety awards since 2006. Because Hyundai is always working to ensure the road doesn't get you, Hyundai vehicles have won over 120 IIHS top safety awards from 2006 to 2024. We put your safety first and everything else second. Learn more at HyundaiUSA.com.
What does it feel like to file with TaxSlayer and get your guaranteed maximum refund? It feels like the last level of a video game, facing off against the final boss who stands between you and your refund.
All your refund has belonged to me.
Using the power of TaxSlayer like a secret power-up he doesn't see coming.
Only the most tax confident can defeat me.
Throwing your laptop at his video game face and watching him crumble into a giant pile of shiny coin tax refunds.
Oh, not fair. You use TaxSlayer.
Start for free and get your guaranteed maximum refund. TaxSlayer. File fearlessly.
I had the worst dream last night. You were in a car crash, and the kids and I were on our own. We had to move out of the house because I couldn't afford it anymore.
That's awful, hon.
My brother was saying he got life insurance from Ethos. With Ethos, it only took 10 minutes, and he got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day. It's all online. No medical exam. He just answered a few health questions right from his house.
Ethos, here we come.
Visit getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
Sample rate is a 10-year term life policy for 35-year-old healthy, non-smoking male. Billed monthly.
Weather brought to you by National Pheasant Fest and Quail Classic at the KC Convention Center, March 7th through the 9th.
Pheasants Forever's National Pheasant Fest and Quail Classic is coming to the Kansas City Convention Center this March 7th through the 9th. Join us for puppy and dog training seminars, a youth village for kids, and more than 400 unique exhibitors. More information at pheasantfest.org.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. Welcome in to the Chiefs Red Half Hour. Every day at 11:30 with Cody and Gold on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
All right, it is the Chiefs Red Half Hour here on Cody and Gold. Reminder, coming up in about 40 minutes, we're expected to have Michael Massie from the Royals call into the show from Arizona. Ask him about learning a new position, the offseason he had, and we'll probably work in some NFL. His quarterback, Caleb Williams, he's a Chicago Bears guy, is on the list that we're about to talk about because the league put out some data yesterday. They reviewed all the number of fouls that were drawn by quarterbacks to see, is there actually some of that preferential treatment from officials that everybody and, Joe 87347856 said on Twitter all the time that the Chiefs were getting all the calls. Was there like some truth to what he was saying? Tua was the most fouled passer per 100 hits this past season. Number one was Tua, 7.32 fouls per 100 hits. These are roughing the passer and unnecessary roughness. Josh Allen was number two. You have any idea? Oh, he's not over there.
Not a Pro Bowler?
It ruined my whole thing. Drew's not even over there just to get his reaction. I was going to get my whole thing. Drew's not even over there just to get his reaction. I was going to get his reaction to this. Joe Burrow's not highlighted because they only highlighted playoff teams and quarterbacks playoff teams. And Drew's not even over there for the payoff. So disappointing.
What a letdown. So the argument being that, and look, I'll say, they're both a little right and a little wrong in doing this. They're saying there's no correlation because, look, you can either be a playoff quarterback or a non-playoff quarterback, and it doesn't matter. But obviously some people get, like, for instance, Josh Allen gets twice as many foul calls per 100 hits against him than Patrick Mahomes. That is not an insignificant variable, in my opinion.
But remember, it doesn't count for Josh Allen, Cody. It only accounts for Patrick Mahomes.
And we should not be ignoring that fact because the top three guys are Tua Tagovailoa, who every ref wants to throw a flag for, arguably because they don't want the guy to die on the football field. Josh Allen, who we know does already historically over the last 5 years get a few more of these calls. And then everyone else is kind of lumped into the same range. I would say once you get past 15, maybe you're not getting a high enough percentage. Like if you're Sam Darnold or Justin Herbert or Trevor Lawrence, you weren't getting the normal amount. You're also getting hit less, so maybe the penalties just didn't come that way. Maybe they have a slight gripe. But the idea that Mahomes was somehow the beneficiary of this is just flat out not true.
Yeah, now the
it's just not true.
Text line points out the argument people are still having is like, well, it's when the penalties are thrown, right? That was the whole thing. The goalposts keep moving every single time. But this is the
we already pointed this out that if it's an under 2-minute games and tie games or less, he has less penalties called than most people.
The quarterback that actually had the least amount of fouls drawn per 100 hits last year, rookie quarterback, kind of makes sense, right? Bo Nix.
Was he hit at all? He has the best offensive line in football.
0.
Fine.
CJ Stroud, 0. Jalen Hurts, 0. Derek Carr, 0. Drake May, 0.85.
You are genuinely, other than the Saints, CJ Stroud, that one's interesting. Because Hurts and Bo Nix, those guys are, those are great offensive lines they played behind.
Other key quarterbacks, so Mahomes was 8th. Stafford, who might be on the move, was 11th. Jaden Daniels had the 12th most. Joe Burrow, 15th. He's not highlighted on this one, Drew. Kirk Cousins, 17th. Sam Darnold was 18th.
A rookie gets more calls than Joe Burrow does. How sad.
Come on,
but it's weird. It's really weird.
Maybe he should start selling them a little bit more,
Drew, though, if you look on the graph,
on the field enough.
You weren't in here earlier, but the graph, there's certain players that are highlighted, including Bo Nix, but Joe Burrow's not. I don't know why, but he's not highlighted on this.
The one that was really bad was the egregious face mask when his face was getting ripped to the side as they were going for that 2-point conversion and it wasn't thrown.
The highlighted teams are playoff teams.
Playoff quarterbacks. Yeah, so Burrow wasn't highlighted.
No, that's fine. I mean, Tua wasn't either. And Tua gets triple.
That's the standard now, is Burrow and Tua?
I could also say Justin Herbert, who gets more calls than Joe Burrow does as well.
I'm not saying
I believe,
it's like
according to that list.
Look, I got to be honest though, the level in which these stats are blown out of proportion is crazy. Okay, so this is per 100 hits. How many dropbacks do we think a quarterback takes in a league in a season? 1,000
pass attempts. I mean,
how many dropbacks does he take? He can get hit. How many pass attempts? 1,000? Not even, probably, right?
No.
30 a game, 300, 500. So he takes 500 dropbacks. What we're talking is, so per one every 100, and Joe Burrow didn't take that many because he was hurt.
100 dropbacks,
yeah,
right?
Per every 100 dropbacks. We're talking about the difference of he gets a penalty for every 3 times he's hit, or 5. And we're going to make it seem like that's a huge deal, that someone stepped back to throw a pass 100 times. And 3 times there was a penalty on Joe Burrow that he was hit, and 5 times it was Patrick Mahomes. That's nothing. So that means absolutely nothing. That's such a small. Those 2 hits could have actually been penalties versus the other ones that weren't. Who knows?
So Josh Allen gets approximately 30 or 35 penalties per every 100 dropbacks. Is that?
No, it's saying he gets 7 penalties every time he drops back 100 times.
Correct. So if you multiplied that by 5, if you did that.
For an entire season, he probably gets 35 called for him. Yeah, 2 a game, I guess.
Jeez.
But it's like.
Man, that's a high clip.
Yeah, his number's a little bit higher than everyone else's, but pretending like somehow these numbers are the end-all, be-all of who gets the calls is nuts.
No.
Because like we were talking about, people immediately turn into Chiefs fan and be like, but when? I would argue a 15-yard penalty called for roughing against a quarterback is big whenever. That's a huge chunk of yardage. That could lead to 7 points in the first quarter. Why is it worth more than if it's in the third or the fourth? It's not. Points are points. You have to score enough of them. You have to score more than the other team in order to win. I don't know if you knew that.
That's typically how it goes.
That's how I think that's how a lot of the sports work. I've been told that's
You've been told that?
That's usually how that stuff goes. Yeah, I love that Cooper Rush was 4th on this though, because everybody was complaining that Cooper Rush. It seems like watching those games, he's getting all these calls,
murdered back there. Yeah. He was getting killed.
Cooper Rush just getting all the calls.
I mean, they just probably felt bad for him. Dak gets hurt.
That team was so brutal.
There.
They were down a lot. Their defense couldn't, so they were dropping back a ton to pass. They had no running game.
Just getting beat up. They just probably felt bad for Cooper, Felt bad for Tua, felt bad for Cooper, felt bad for Josh. I know they gave him the MVP because they felt bad for him. There's no other explanation.
Correct.
Still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where was Lamar Jackson on that list?
Dead last. Like, he was really close to the bottom. Not dead last, but
I think you said
21st or something like that. Yeah, Hurts was in the very bottom along with Bo Nix.
Because it is interesting when you look at how I think Josh Allen threw more passes than Lamar Jackson. I think he dropped back more. I'm actually not even sure about that, to be honest with you. Because Lamar Jackson had better numbers across the board than Josh Allen did. But for Josh Allen, who plays a similar style to that of a Lamar Jackson or a Jalen Hurts, to see that much of a disparity between those 3 guys was one of the things you might take away from it, I guess. If you did take away anything, it was kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's
how many more penalties Josh Allen draws than Lamar Jackson or
he's drawn more than anybody
Hurts.
else over the last 5 years.
Yeah,
Bills fans
crazy.
wouldn't let you believe that because it's Mahomes gets all the calls. But yeah, he's drawn more. He draws. I also think that his style of play, I would expect him to draw more. It said per every 100 dropbacks. This doesn't include when Josh Allen goes throwing his body 20 yards down the field in a run. He's more likely to get him.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's surprising that Lamar Jackson and Hurts have so few.
Lamar, yes. Yeah. Yes. Those are the guys that actually surprise you. But Josh Allen is also a physical runner. He takes on this is the other part where nuance matters. Lamar Jackson and Jalen Hurts' running style is to not run you over. It is to run and then get out of bounds. Josh Allen's running style is to run at you. He runs at you. He's a freight train ready to take you down. There's just more opportunities. I don't care that Josh Allen gets them either. I also think that favoritism in sports for superstars is normal and an expected human condition. I think it's normal for LeBron James to go to the free throw line more. I think it's normal for a team at home and Allen Fieldhouse to get more trips to the free throw. That's just, it is a human-based sport in which humans exist. And I don't care that it moves around in that way, I guess. I don't know. One way or the other.
Patrick Mahomes has a new style, new haircut. He's going to be 30.
You getting a new haircut?
No. Do I need to?
No, just, he's changing up. Maybe you're
going to get a new one?
I don't know. Maybe. I got to get a haircut maybe this weekend. So
what are you thinking?
I don't know. I'll just tell the barber to cut it.
But you said new. You get
I
a
don't
buzz?
Know. I'll ask him. Maybe.
Drew's almost got all the blonde out of there.
Kidding? I'm not getting a buzz.
It's weird. It depends.
My head's not shaped right for that.
As soon as my hair dries out, the blonde is full on there. I might have to just get it all. I might have to get a buzz cut actually the next time.
I bring this up because there's a lot of thought of well, now that Mahomes got beat up like that in the Super Bowl, he's going to go scorched earth next year, and it is redemption tour 2025. Unless his stats just take a huge leap and he puts together an MVP campaign, I mean, they've gone to the Super Bowl for 3 straight years.
That could just happen naturally based on all of his wide receiver weapons.
Sure, and if the O-line help is better and all that. Do I think that he's ultra motivated because he lost the Super Bowl? Of course I do. I also think he gets motivated by anything. Some one clip of some national media member saying that he stinks or something like that, that's motivating for anything. We know that Bobby Stroop passes on some of the tweets and things like that are said by national media members and everything like that. The redemption arc thing, I think it's a fun thing for a lot of fans to always say, now look out, next year, Mahomes, you guys are saying the run's over, look out. I think there's a lot of people in that building that want to prove people wrong. I think that's true. Does that mean it's scorched earth? I don't know. But I think there's plenty of guys on that roster, especially with Kelce potentially coming back, it looks like, that because their last game out there was as bad as it was, do I think they're even more motivated? I think there's truth to that.
I do think so, yeah, and I guess, but more motivated than what? They were in the middle of a three-peat season, a back-to-back season to win the Super Bowl in any year. I think that storyline is not played out, but just also isn't true of what the Chiefs fundamentally have built themselves into. They're not about revenge and we'll get ours. They are a machine, a finely tuned one at that. There's a reason why they go to the AFC title game every year. They go to the Super Bowl every year. They, the consistent level performers perform consistently. Fundamentally, they are consistent across the board, time in and time out. And I think they operate more in that regard than they do well, now he's going to take it to the whole league. And if he performs better, I'm not going to assume it's because Patrick Mahomes is mad. I think there was more of that when he was younger, in fairness. When he was counting on his fingers and he was doing some of that stuff, I thought he showed more of the pettiness early. He showed it maybe after the season when he said, that's who to Jamar Chase. But on the field and in the lead up to a season, we don't see that as much from him anymore, in my opinion. I don't know about you. I see less of that true pettiness out of him on the field than instead he knows the exact amount of work it's going to take in order to be one of the greatest of all time. And I think everyone's starting to lean into this. How do we make sure we don't miss out on another great year with Patrick Mahomes? So we all got to handle our job. Everyone's got to do their job more than I'm out for blood. It's not Rambo. I don't think next season's that.
No, but a lot of what they're going to be able to do on offense is going to be dictated by when Rice and Worthy and Kelce are on the field at the same time, and if they're getting protection on Patrick Mahomes. That'll allow naturally, I think, automatically to see the performance uptick. Some people on the text line are saying, hey, scorched earth should just be the play calling. Again, that goes back to personnel. We could all want Matt Nagy to be and Andy Reid to be more aggressive and take shots down the field. They got to have time to take those shots down the field. If they have more time, left tackle wise in particular, we're talking about here, well then I think you'll see some more opportunities down the field. If they have a more explosive running back, I don't think they have to do as many of the extension of the run game, 2-yard pass, hope that there's a block and get some yards after the catch kind of stuff.
Yeah, but like again, I think part of their offense has, and this is not just Chiefs related. You and I both know one very obvious thing about the way the NFL is going. The NFL had its lowest yards per attempt since like 2006 last season. It's not just the Chiefs who are dinking and dunking. That's where the league has gone. The league has made its adjustment. The running backs mattered more in the last 2 years. The short passing game has mattered more in the last 2 years. The deep passing game's gotten taken away. And then in like 3 years, when everybody comes up closer to the line of scrimmage and they go through all this thing, the deep passing game will be back. The Chiefs are actually playing the game the way a lot of the NFL is currently playing the game because, again, the league has all come forward. It started with the Chiefs when everyone started running cover 2 and squeezing them in, and they did that across the league. I know it seems like more teams get deep balls because you're watching red zone and you're watching every touchdown go for 60-plus yards. Every team's not scoring like that. I mean, teams are doing it better than the Chiefs. They had one of the worst average depth of targets in the entire league. But everyone is playing closer to line of scrimmage. Everyone's throwing quick passing game. All those things are pretty normal. I think, at least on there. I was looking at all the different quarterbacks on there, looking back on that list, trying to find like a single correlation. I couldn't find it. I couldn't find a single correlation other than some guys got more last year. And then what you really need to do is compare the last 5 years. Where does somebody rank on aggregate? Like if 1 year you're 22 and the next year you're 3, and on aggregate everyone's pretty much just like 8 or 9 or 10 or whatever, then it doesn't matter, right? Sometimes you just get more calls, so it doesn't change the math. But yeah, I was surprised. I didn't know if you would think it's a scorched earth season for Mahomes or not. I didn't know if I was on my own there.
Yeah, I think redemption kind of thing is a little silly, but motivation, of course. Anytime you lose like that, I think any athlete, it's not even unique to Mahomes. I would just say any organization would say like, yeah, that sucked. We got embarrassed.
I didn't enjoy it.
We got embarrassed. So yeah, we're ultra motivated. But how does that carry you the entire season? No. I don't think so. Does it mean that week
doesn't
one
want it to?
Does it mean like week 1 next year? Like you want to go out and show right away, hey, well, we're still here. Don't forget about us. Yeah, I think so. I think week 1, you want to go out always and have a good performance, but considering
the game against the Eagles,
whoever they open up against in week 1, whether it's at home or on the road on Sunday or Monday night football, whatever it may be.
The Royals game, I think they're going to be on the road.
It has to be on Sunday if they play Sunday.
Yeah,
they could play Monday night at home.
They could move the Royals game too. They do that too.
They could play Monday night at home, but if it's Sunday afternoon, they'll be on the road.
Yeah, they don't want to squeeze up the parking.
Let's put that one in Nashville right away, week 1.
Are you in any way going to, like when these stadiums finally get moved, and we'll talk more about the stadiums and the updated stuff on this, when these stadiums get moved.
Would it be more likely that happens? Yeah, but it's still, would it be more likely that happens? Yeah, but it's still we're talking about once a year, if that.
I mean, it could be up to 4 times a year.
No, but I'm saying like it is only even come into play like once or twice a year anyway.
I was just saying like it could be up because like the Royals will play every Sunday. The Chiefs will not necessarily play every Sunday. They're actually less, funny enough, even though it's a Sunday sport. The Chiefs are less likely to play on a Sunday. Every baseball team plays on Sunday. The new schedule changed that a little bit, so there's like one random Sunday a year where like the Royals aren't on and it throws us all off and we don't understand.
Right.
But for the most part, they play every Sunday. So like the 4 September Sundays, and let's say they go on a deep playoff run. Like technically they could have like 7 straight conflicts. You and I both know. Of those 7 straight Sundays, the Chiefs are going to play 3. I mean, how do they play on a Sunday? 3 times? 4 times? Maybe. And then still, it's got to be like the games are at the same time. I don't know. I wouldn't mind going to.
Far between, I think.
I wouldn't mind going to. It's happened every once. I wouldn't mind going to like both in the same day. Can we just have one of those before they tear them down?
If you're tailgating at a Chiefs game, I don't. Well, the only way.
And then staying for a 7:10 first pitch.
See, there's probably no scenario where the baseball game is after the Chiefs game. It would have to be the baseball game is early and the Chiefs are playing Sunday Night Football kind of thing.
Would you go if you could like double dip?
No.
Say a noon Royals game, 12:10. Chiefs play Sunday Night Football. You're just gonna stay.
I'll just go to the football game if I'm going with one of the two. There's 162 baseball games. I'll pick the one that's not a conflict with the Chiefs, I think, at that point.
Versus the 10 football games, including preseason?
I would say so.
Okay. I don't know. I kind of miss it. It'll be kind of weird to have stadiums that don't share a parking lot. I'm like accustomed to it.
Just not going to the Truman Sports Complex, if in fact that's what this all ends up being, will be weird in its own right. Just like that'll.
The first time you drive to a new location.
It'll feel very weird at first, if in fact it goes the way we think it's trending, which is maybe Chiefs Kansas and the Royals downtown, or the Royals in Kansas as well.
I know it'll feel weird, but I don't know. How long will it take you to get used to it?
A full season.
Okay. 1 full year in the new building, and you'll be like, okay, I'm good to go.
Yeah, and I already expect people will complain about it immediately. So,
Drew, how close are the stadiums in Indy?
Well,
I've never been to Indianapolis.
You mean the field house for the Pacers in Lucas Oil?
Yeah. They're like next door, aren't they?
They're not next door, but it's maybe, in terms of driving, 5-minute drive.
Okay. They don't have a baseball team there. Those are their only two.
The baseball field, okay, so they have a minor league stadium. The baseball field is...
They don't have a MLB team.
Maybe even quicker than that. It's maybe even shorter drive. It's maybe even shorter.
Cleveland's,
from
I guess,
Oil.
a better example. Maybe. So I've never been there, but I had a family member who was just there, and they have their ballpark. I think it's Progressive Field, right? And then they have the Quicken Loans Arena where the Cavs play, and it's all. I mean, it's all right there now.
Yeah,
the Brown Stadium
right
is
there.
on the river, but like the baseball
Coors
are very close. Yeah,
in Denver, they're right next to each other. And honestly, the Pepsi Center, which I think where the Avalanche play, isn't far either. The Nuggets, like it's in the same downtown area. It's not like next door. I don't think. Yeah. If I'm remembering Denver right, but like it's close.
It's a very similar thing I would say in Indianapolis, where everything is within. I mean, you could walk there from Lucas Oil to Gainbridge Fieldhouse, and it's not a big problem. There's there's people who would park at Lucas Oil and then walk to Victory Field to go to Indianapolis Indians games.
I'm loyal to the RCA Dome, Drew. I like the RCA Dome days. So better
OG days.
RCA Dome was a better fit, you know. I think even in Denver,
louder,
Cody, I don't even know. Is it even the Pepsi thing anymore? I like that was the iconic name. It's now like Balls Arena or something.
It's Ball Arena.
Yeah, so
Singular.
Yeah, just
Ball
singular,
Arena.
not just Ball Arena, huh?
Singular.
Okay.
Yes.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Got to keep the names straight. Sooner or later trouble.
Seattle's next door to each other. Yeah, I have been there. I have been to the Time Safeco, T-Mobile, and then was CenturyLink. Now what is it called? Lumen or something.
I think Cincinnati.
Lumen Severance. What's the other one? Is it Lumen though?
Yeah,
That's
I think
Severance.
so.
No, but I think Lumen is also Seattle. Lumen Field.
Cincinnati, I think, is
it is
right
Lumen
next to each
Field,
other.
which now I'm going to view way differently after watching Severance. Yeah, it's Lumen Field.
They should have figured out a way to do
A tie-in
yeah,
promotional.
They did the
Absolutely.
thing at Grand Central Station, which
Saw
I'm assuming
that.
you see now.
Yeah, yeah.
How close is Ford Field to the Comerica Park? I don't think it's too far, but they're not right next to each
It's
other.
fairly close. I haven't been to Ford Field, but I've been to Comerica.
This would be one of the other things that's slightly different is in most cities, as we're describing, they kind of keep the stadiums all in downtown.
Yeah.
Like everybody tries to keep them kind of close.
Not in Atlanta, though, which is the model they keep bringing up every time, right? Which is they play out at SunTrust or whatever it is, and that's in the suburbs versus Falcon Stadium is closer to downtown, I think.
Yeah. At least makes it interesting.
Up next, we're going to get to what's trending. We're expected to head out to Arizona and hear from Michael Massie. How's the transition or at least learning left field going for him? Plus, we'll talk some football with him along with a little All 32 next.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for K-State Athletics. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
It's February. What is more romantic than a new toilet? 2. This month we are offering buy one, get one half off a toilet replacement. Win those brownie points and call Connolly at 913-768-7676 or visit ConnollyPlumbingSolutions.com.
Hey, it's Rex here with RexBuysKC.com, your local KC home buyer. If you own a property in the Kansas City or surrounding area and want to sell it fast and at a fair price, write this number down. 816-330-6000. I'm a private real estate investor, not some hedge fund or large national chain. My family and I live right here in KC. I can pay cash and close on your timeline, even in as little as 3 days. Here at RexBuysKC.com, we are improving Kansas City one house at a time. I buy inherited houses, vacant houses, foreclosure houses, behind in payment houses, my tenant won't pay the rent houses, and properties that need complete rehabs. Do you own a house that's trashed and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at this number, 816-330-6000. That's 816-330-6000, or go to RexBuysKC.com. That's RexBuysKC.com, and I look forward to working with you.
New treatments for joint pain are here. By now, you've heard about regenerative medicine. If you're wondering if you're a good candidate, answer these questions. First, does chronic pain in your knees, hips, shoulders, or other joints keep you from doing the things you enjoy? Golfing, jogging, time with a family. Does it hurt doing the things you need to do, like getting out of bed, sleeping, working, and walking? And finally, do you want to avoid surgery and all of the pain, long recovery, and uncertainty that comes with it? If you answered yes to any of those, you need to call QC Kinetics now. Learn about exciting advancements in regenerative treatments that can give you long-lasting pain relief with no drugs, no surgery, and no downtime. Get your free consultation today. Call QC Kinetics. That's QC Kinetics. Here's the phone number.
Call now, 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. QC Kinetics, 816-412-6299.
Downy Rinse and Refresh. Break up with stinky clothes.
Rinse it out. Every now and then I get a little bit tired of the stinks that just will never come out. Oh, Downy the rinse straight. Every now and then I rinse it out. One wash and it delivers. One wash, it smells so clean. Downy Rinse and Refresh, it's a dream.
Downy Rinse and Refresh. Fights odor in just one wash. Guaranteed.
Some people just know they can save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first at 888-ALLSTATE or allstate.com. Like you know to check your sunroof is closed first before driving through the car wash.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Oh, no, wait, whoa.
Yeah, checking first is smart. So if you want to save money, check Allstate first at 888-ALLSTATE or allstate.com. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Savings vary. Terms apply. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
What does it feel like to file with TaxSlayer and get your guaranteed maximum refund? It feels like the last level of a video game, facing off against the final boss who stands between you and your refund.
All your refund has belonged to me.
Using the power of TaxSlayer like a secret power-up he doesn't see coming.
Only the most tax-confident can defeat me.
Throwing your laptop at his video game face and watching him crumble into a giant pile of shiny coin tax refunds.
Oh, not fair. You use TaxSlayer.
Start for free and get your guaranteed maximum refund. TaxSlayer. File fearlessly.
I had the worst dream last night. You were in a car crash, and the kids and I were on our own. We had to move out of the house because I couldn't afford it anymore.
That's awful, hon.
My brother was saying he got life insurance from Ethos. With Ethos, it only took 10 minutes, and he got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day. It's all online. No medical exam. He just answered a few health questions right from his house.
Ethos, here we come.
Visit getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
Sample rate is a 10-year term life policy for 35-year-old healthy, non-smoking male. Billed monthly.
Go check out 96.5 The Fan's Instagram page for videos, giveaways, and behind-the-scenes content. Your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan. KFNC FM and AM HD1 and HD2. Kansas City. An Odyssey sports station. What's trending?
What's Trending is presented by Baker University, where graduates earn higher salaries and land jobs faster than any other university in Kansas. Apply today at bakeru.edu. Tom Pelissero just reported the NFL and NFLPA have agreed on what the new cap is going to be. Remember, there was a range, 270 as high as 281. They have settled on $279.2 million for 2025. Overall, the last 2 years.
To not sign Trent McDuffie now. I don't want to know what the number's in a year, 2 years. I want Trent McDuffie under contract now when the number is reasonable. Next up on What's Trending, K-State men's basketball lost to UCF last night. Their fourth straight loss. Jerome Tang, frustrated after the game, said he takes a lot of heat. Players have got to take some responsibility in these losses as well. They have fallen apart lately. Probably saw some of their tournament's hope go away. They're also without Coleman Hawkins, which obviously is not going to help anything. But they've now lost 4 straight games. Missouri in action tonight? Nobody plays on Thursday.
I think they're all playing Saturday next.
Yeah.
I think that's the next, whether it's Big 12 or SEC.
Nobody plays on Thursday in college basketball.
Elsewhere, we know the Combine is underway. Today, some of the position groups will start their testing and drills and everything like that. But the big news out of Indy has to do with potentially the number 1 overall pick, Abdul Carter. Whether he needs surgery or not, top NFL prospect was told surgery is not advisable after some more scans today on his foot, according to at least one report out there. Adam Schefter mentioning that the medical evaluation could complicate his stock. Test revealed that he has a stress reaction in his right foot. Surgery was not initially ruled out, but again, there's been an update to that. His workout on Pro Day is March 28th over at Penn State. So I think this is the same problem. He'll get surgery to fix his. Next up on What's Trending, UFC is coming to Kansas City, set for April 26th. That'll be just UFC Fight Night, not the major UFC events, but there'll be actual fights in Kansas City coming up on April 26th.
You've been to live UFC, haven't you?
Yeah, not in the Kansas City. I think this is the second or third time they've come to KC. I've had UFC in Houston I've gone to when I worked there, and then other stuff has been boxing, not MMA. But yeah, I mean, I think in person, there's a new appreciation for it. Like when you go for, especially a big boxing match.
Yeah.
You go in a big fight. But yeah, this one's not a pay-per-view event. They save those for Vegas and New York and Abu Dhabi and wherever else.
Because of the Super Bowl, they were asking if Drew brought that 10-pound weight.
Oh,
for me to feel to see if I was really dropping on my foot.
I did not. I totally spaced it.
Tomorrow during the fan club.
I'm going to set a reminder. Yes, that actually is the time to do it.
What about this box just full of glasses?
Do you think that's 10 pounds?
I don't think so.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I guess it could be. No chance it's 10 pounds? You got to bring in the weight, Drew. We got to be
5 to 7 pounds. But why don't you just start? Why don't you just stand up?
That's the whole thing.
Stand up, and I'll just drop that and see if you feel any pain.
You're not throwing it down.
No, I'm going to hold it and then.
I'd be fine with that.
From a good height.
Wait, that's not how they do the contest either. Do it from eyesight level. Lastly, on What's Trending, don't forget coming up next Friday, the show's going to be out at Kelly's at 6:30. You're like, why are you going to be out at Kelly's? So just hang out, thank the listeners. That's pretty much it. We wanted to do a listener appreciation night just kind of because you guys helped us get the #1 rated show for what we needed. They gave us a financial bonus, and we wanted to pass it along to you. So Friday night, March 7th, we're going to be at Kelly's, 6:30 p.m. Chipped in $750 of cold hard cash that came directly from our pockets. And our guys over at Sazerac chipped in another $250. I've been told can be used on either Fireball or a Moscow Mule cocktail using their vodka. So, you want to have a good time with us? I don't think that bar tab's going to last very long. What's the over-under on... Look, I mean, I'm still going to be hanging out. I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving after the tab is gone. Let me make that very clear. I'll be there for a while. But I guess it kind of depends on how many people. What's $5 a drink divided by $1,000? How many,
It depends. Are we getting if 20 people show up, fine. If 60 people show up, then it's the bar tab will go $1,000 bar tab will go very quickly.
I don't have any idea how many people to expect. I'm not gonna lie. This is an unscheduled event where we're just like, let's do some stuff.
That's right. All right, let's go out to Arizona though and welcome in Michael Massie, Royals second baseman, also getting some work in left field. A lot to get into. Michael, good to have you on the show, man. What's going on?
You forgot that I'm a friend of the show. You didn't say that.
Friend of the show. My apologies. This is true. You've got that figured out. Yeah. No disrespect intended or anything like that. I'll just start. How was the off season for you? I know Vern said he thinks you might be in. You look like you actually might be in the best shape of your life.
Yeah, it was a good off season. It started with obviously getting married and spending some time down in Mexico, which is always good, and then. Getting after it in the weight room and getting my baseball working.
You're more courageous than Vinny, so you'll probably do it. I asked him to rank out the weddings. Where did where your wedding was #1? In this case, which wedding comes in at #2? Did you have a favorite of the many I think you went to this off season?
Oh, it's hard to. I mean, what Bobby and Maggie were able to do is tough to top in Dallas. So I think they take the cake over everybody, but every wedding was awesome.
I saw they had People Magazine taking photos. I haven't seen all the photos out yet. Are they out?
I mean, they may be. I don't know. You can probably find that on Google.
I was about to say I haven't seen them yet.
It's a good answer. Anytime if Cody has a question, just say, you can also Google it. You tell me. Fair. You can just figure that on your own. We can get into the baseball stuff here in a bit, but how do you feel? The combine's going on in Indy. We were just talking about some big news involving Abdul Carter and everything. You got a new head coach for your Chicago Bears now. How do you feel the offseason's going to go?
I feel good. We've been hopefully this is the one we nail. We've had this situation quite a few times in Chicago, so hopefully I like Caleb. I feel like he played well last year, and I don't think there was a better coach on the market. So I don't know if I don't think anybody can be upset about that hire. And they got some assets to work with the payroll and draft status. So hopefully they can turn this thing around.
Are there any other Bears fans in the clubhouse with you?
Not that I know of. We're one of our trainers, Jeff Blum, is a Bears fan. But other than that, we're kind of on an island.
I didn't know. Vinny seems so excited about getting another Jets fan, I guess, in Jonathan Indy. I didn't know if you had anybody to commiserate with.
No, nobody here in KC. So I don't mind being a lone wolf though.
Okay, that's fine. You know what? You support your team. We've always appreciated your football insight to go with it.
How did fantasy football wrap up for you? We were getting some updates from Vinny. There's a few pitchers seem to have the advantage in fantasy football. We've learned.
Yeah, they got so much time on their hands. I mean, they can do research during the year, especially that time when they're starting once every 5 days. So, not an ideal finish for Will Smith and I. But there's a rumor floating around that the loser. I think I saw, was it the Mets maybe, the fantasy football, or no, it was the Blue Jays. The fantasy football loser had to be the bat boy.
Yes, and he had his record on the back of his jersey too, I think.
Yeah. So Vinny was floating around the idea that the loser has to sing the national anthem at a game next year.
Oh, man.
In spring training, you do get the words. I think was
okay.
That was something we negotiated for in our CBA. So, but yeah.
Wait, are you saying you said? So did you finish last? You said Will Smith as well, but were you last?
No, so Will Smith funded me,
okay.
And we were on a team together. But no, we did not finish last, but we were like middle of the pack.
All right.
When you look, I guess this is like a spring training related question. Before you ask your real things about trying to play left field and all that stuff, how early does the process start for choosing your walk-up song?
Ooh, I was actually just listening to mine on the way in. A few different options. So I would say right about now. This is probably the timing of it.
What's in the running? Do you got like a couple that you're kicking around, or you already decided it?
Well, I like the song "Levels" by Big X the Plug, and then I also like "Tweaker" by Jello. So we're in a couple different options. I have been voted the worst walk-up song on the team a couple times, so really trying to get ahead of it early here.
Wow!
Yeah.
How you voted that?
I'm a family-friendly guy, so I always like Morgan Wallen or like something for the kids, and then all the other guys were like, "Dude, you're putting me to sleep." I'm like, I don't know what you want me to do, but yeah. So I'm really taking that serious.
Now I'm fascinated. Who was voted? I guess who had the best walk-up song last year?
Well, I don't think it was not an actual vote. It was just so many guys on the team came up to me and said, "Your walk-up song is terrible." Even Alex Zumwalt, our hitting coach, also mentioned that. So. Yeah, I know it's a harsh. I mean, I always think Vinny has the worst one, but I'm trying to think who had a good one last year.
I really liked. Now I'm trying to remember. Oh, it's always like the thing you think about when you're at
Bobby had a good one. Okay. It had. I just remember it because I was watching it on when he was doing the home run derby. He walked out. I don't even know the name of the song, but it just had a nice beat to it.
We're talking to Michael Massie here on 96.5 The Fan. All right, we've kind of mentioned left field a little bit, so we'll ask you, how's that going? I know, 2 games in or 1 game into left field for you?
Yeah, I got played out there. What was that?
2 days ago.
My days. It's baseball season, so all the days run together. But like 2 days ago. It was good. It was good to just get out there. Been doing some reps, obviously, in practice, and I feel like there's nothing like the game. Catching a ball out of a machine and doing your routes in BP is great, but being able to get out in a game and get live reads and have to battle the Arizona sun is something that's a challenge. So, little uncomfortable at first for sure, but hopefully the more reps I can get. Out there in a game, and I feel like the game will slow down, just like anything. The more you do it, the better you get.
We know you were the one who told us that you had reached out to the Royals at first, like to the coaching staff, and like, "Hey, I'm willing to do this if you guys want to be out there." How quickly did they respond with, "You know what? Let's see." Maybe did they wait till the off season? Was it something that you even discussed a little bit more in season last year?
Yeah, I think last year again it was just something that. Dealing with the back injuries, it's been, second base has always been the toughest for me. So, being able to, on those rehab assignments, I was like, well, hey, what if I just took some fly balls in left field in practice just to start getting used to it in case that's a little bit more of an upright position. And, maybe it keeps me a little healthier. Maybe it doesn't. I don't know. Right. All I know is what we know at second base. And then obviously with the India signing, it was kind of the elephant in the room, right? You got a couple guys that can play the infield and bounce all around. So, Q and Hoove are guys that like to move guys around and utilize the whole roster. And so it's just something that, again, I don't really know the plan. I don't know if we'll ever play out there. I don't know if Indy will play out there. Nobody knows. But just being able to get reps and work through it and be as prepared as possible if our numbers called to go out there.
Other than the coaching staff, is there, whether it's a teammate or maybe watching film, is there anybody you've leaned on just to try to learn that position?
Just the coaching staff, and obviously watching. Yesterday I was DH, and so I had the chance to watch MJ out there, and I think MJ is about as good as it gets in left field defensively. So just being able to talk with him, and he's a guy that converted from being a catcher and went out to left field, so he's got some experience making the switch. Like I said, he's as good as it gets out there. So for me, I'm a visual learner, so being able to watch somebody like him. Go out there and break back on balls and come in on balls and, make it look as easy as he does. He's also a great guy to learn from.
We were trying to come up with a nickname ourselves, so I'll ask if maybe there's already one floating around in the clubhouse. Vinny had posted a photo with him and Cags next to each other. Obviously, Vinny Pasquantino and Caglione stands out as being like, it looked like they're trying to be like mafia hitmen together, whatever. We're trying to come up with a combined nickname for them. Heavy hitters, hitmen, the meatballs. These are all suggestions that people made over on the text line. Someone suggested pasta la vista, baby. Is there anything floating around out there?
That is nothing yet. That is just that's such a diss though to Jack Caglione, because he is just so much better looking than Vinny in every area that I feel like the conversation shouldn't even mix them.
Be their own people,
Exactly. No, they're the best. I mean, those two guys, what they bring to the clubhouse and just their energy, and obviously, you guys in Kansas City know how special Vinny is. But Jack is getting to know Jack this spring's been awesome, and he's going to help us a lot here, I think, coming up.
We know a bunch of members of the old 2015 teams, and some veterans have been popping by. How much do you guys like that as vets? Like when Hosmer or I think Edison Volquez was by the other day. How much do you guys like when the Royals of past come by?
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, obviously, there's such a respect for what those guys are able to accomplish, and anytime that they're around, being able to learn from them, and not even as much as what they say, just how they interact and watching their actions and what they're about. You learn something every time one of those guys comes in, and they pass on the knowledge that they have to us, and hopefully one day we'll be able to do the same.
I know the ABS strike zone stuff isn't going to take place until maybe next year, so it's not something you have to worry about here in 2025. But I don't know, have you utilized it yet in spring training? What's your thought on that entire thing?
I haven't yet. I've gotten a little bit of experience with it on some of the rehab assignments I've been on, and for me, I actually enjoy it in the sense that I learned the strike zone better, which is something I need to do. Because especially the full ABS games, right? Not even the challenge games like they have in the minors, where the first 3 days of the week down there they do, where it literally shows up on the board after each pitch. So you could take a pitch, look up at the board, see where it was, and I really felt like it helped me kind of lock in my strike zone. But as far as the challenge system, I think it's great. I think I thought the stat was it only adds like 17 seconds to the game time per challenge, so it's not something that's really going to slow the game down. And I think it's fun for the fans every time someone challenges it and they get it right, especially Salvi. The crowd goes crazy, and I think there's some good fan engagement. And then I think it's also nice to know that you have that in your back pocket. In a big situation, if you feel like there's a pitch that maybe should have been called a ball, that was a strike, or vice. Being able to have that in your back pocket is something that's nice as a player.
We saw Salvi apologizing to the ump after he challenged one. He was like, "I'm sorry. I don't need any trouble here." Essentially, that's what it looked like. He felt bad, even though he was right. The pitch was too high.
Well, I think it's great, and I think there's some humility that goes along with it, right? Like the trash talk sometimes between an umpire and a player, and it's like, hey man, we have a system now in place where it's like you're going to be held accountable in the moment. So you could talk all the trash you want, but if this is a strike, it's a strike. If it's a ball, it's a ball, and there's a way to be held accountable for that. So I personally, I like it so far.
I don't know if we'll have you on the show again before the draft. I'm sure we'll talk to you in the clubhouse or something. But let me get the prediction right now on February 27th from Michael Massie. Who are the Bears drafting?
Gosh,
yeah,
I'm not even.
Which pick are they?
Not even. I can't even. I haven't done my research.
Okay, all right. Position? What about position?
Every
on the list?
position other than quarterback.
Fair enough. All right,
offensive line.
Okay. Well, we can follow back up. We'll have a chance, I'm sure. Yeah. All right, Michael. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, appreciate you guys having me on.
There you go. That's Michael Massie with us here on 96.5, The Fan, from out in Surprise, Arizona. And as you can tell, we knew this a couple months ago, but willingness to just truly do whatever it takes, right? Left field, yes, we need me to play. I'll be ready to go. I'll learn this. And yeah, like there's kind of this unknown, what does that mean for his health? Is there a chance that it ends up actually being a better thing for him? But has he acknowledged, like, they don't know who's playing in left field? Like, could Indy end up playing out there? Could he? Could neither of them?
This is all just like
this.
I guess we should discuss it more like it's a test case, not like we just think those guys are going out and playing left field all the time. But I think they want India and Massie in the lineup, which means I do think that they're serious about putting him out in left field. And Vern told us this, and now Massie's reiterated it. Playing second base because of like having to be like hunched over is clearly one of the agitators for this back-related issue that he's managed, that he's continued to manage since he's been in the big leagues. And so if he's going to have to keep managing that, then maybe left field keeps him in the game, keeps him in the season longer, keeps him off the IL. I also go back to, we talked about it multiple times now, but J.J. Piccolo had said he thought he had also in the middle of the season learned how to play through that injury a little bit and what is capable of being played through. So, I'm optimistic Massie's going to find his way onto the field a lot more this season.
All right, we'll go back out there and talk to Vern here in about 25 minutes or so, get his perspective and also what he's got in store tonight for his Hot Stove Show, which is 6 o'clock this evening here on 96.5 The Fan. But right now, let's get to all 32. So Kyler Murray, is he just a dude at this point in time in the league? Because last year, I think you and I both thought maybe there was a chance. Let's not forget about Kyler Murray. He's still, he's still capable of doing something. The team itself, of course, didn't have a great season. You take a look back at where he's been in his career. Marvin Harrison Jr. and him did not have the same connection that we thought they would have instantly, the way people were hoping for. Last year's final stat line, about 3,700 yards on the season. And
some rushing too, but
of course, right. He had some rushing yards in there. Wasn't his worst season or anything like that. But Jonathan Gannon, who I think will be clearly on the hot seat depending on what happens this year, he said he thinks you're going to see a hell of a year out of Kyler Murray. Breaking news: coach believes quarterback will have big season. I guess for me,
he still has talent.
Kyler Murray he's
an average quarterback.
The 12th to 15th best quarterback in football, and I think that's just where he's going to be, which means he's going to be in the league for another 8 years, 10 years, make a lot of money.
But he'll probably only be the starter for this team for less than 3 or 4, and then he'll have to go find some other team that's ready to take him on. He's a really talented player. I don't think there's any argument for the other side.
21 touchdowns, 11 picks last year.
But yeah, he's just fine. He's fine. He'll end up being the quarterback of an example of a guy who's not very good. He'll get Kirk Cousins eventually in the sense that, people make it seem like he's way worse than he is. He's not that.
Yeah, and I know QB
he's
win
just
loss
an average
stuff.
Quarterback.
QB win loss stuff. It's not all on him, right? He's been on some bad teams, but he's 36-45-1 as the starter, right? He's 9 games under 500. This is just a massive year for Kyler Murray. He'll be 28 years old this year.
Yeah, it's about the same. I did think
Played
about
a full season finally.
I was going to talk about Kirk Cousins for a minute, but I continue to see stuff out of San Francisco, and I'm trying to decide if the teams along the ocean are trying to have we're getting rid of our team off. We obviously see all the stuff with the Rams, who have granted permission from their quarterback, their guard, and other people to seek Cooper Kupp to seek a trade. The same thing's happening in San Francisco, but with bigger named players, in my opinion. Kyle Shanahan yesterday at the Combine said that they are listening to teams on trade offers for Brandon Ayuk. They've already granted permission for Deebo Samuel to seek a trade. There's always rumors about maybe they're going to trade their quarterback in Brock Purdy. Is Kyle Shanahan planning on just tearing this thing down and starting anew in San Francisco? What is the plan that includes getting rid of all of our great our successful wide receivers and making Brock Purdy go it alone? Part of me thinks that maybe they're planning on moving on from Purdy.
I think it's
these are the moves before that.
Yeah, I think it's a couple of things. I think the window that they were in, look, they've gone to 2 Super Bowls over the last 5+ years. Of course, they've lost to Kansas City in both of them. One time it was with Purdy, one was with Garoppolo. I think most of the times, and it's amazing, the Chiefs have kept the core of Kelce, Jones, and Mahomes together. Most of the times, after 4 or 5 years, like you do
turn over different
so I think maybe in Kyle Shanahan's mind, he's like, hey, we gave it 2 runs out in the Super Bowl. It's time
to change up personnel.
And maybe, you're not happy with the personality of Deebo Samuel and some of the guys at this point in time. Last year was a disaster. Clearly, Christian McCaffrey's probably never going to be the same running back. Again, you're not going to get the same production. And my fun offseason trade involves, moving on from Brock Purdy and bringing in a Sam Darnold or somebody else. So maybe they are going to kind of reset this thing a little bit and try to get younger.
NFC West is going to be wide open. Dear God.
Could be. I think depending on what happens with Stafford, for
if Stafford
sure.
and Purdy move, then it is wide open because then you're like.
Then Kyler Murray maybe does have a chance.
Kyler Murray might be the best quarterback left in the division after that. Would be most likely.
He could,
be the best quarterback left in the division. I just always wonder, it seems like I'm seeing more of it of sure, make your offer for Brandon Ayuk. Is this just to prove to them that their market's not as good as they think? What is the plan here? Are you trying to put them in their place? Which version of this? I'm surprised San Francisco, who has been at the top of the NFC pretty consistently over the last 5 years, including multiple Super Bowl trips, that they would say, let's just tear this whole thing down. That's all.
We talked about Jonathan Gannon. I'm going to go to his former counterpart and Shane Steichen saying that there's going to be an open quarterback competition for the Colts. Anthony Richardson not guaranteed the job, which
that's pretty crazy already.
I mean, based on how things went last
pick.
year, it's just been really weird how quickly they've not jumped to get rid of him almost, but they're almost making an excuse to try to get somebody else in the room and at least try to beat him out.
4th overall pick 2 years ago. We all know last year he got benched after he admitted that he pulled himself out of a game. Quarterbacks, you can't pull yourself out of a game.
It's really been downhill since then for him, it seems like.
Last year, 1,800 yards, 8 touchdowns, 12 picks in 11 games. Can't stay healthy. But who's the competition? Is it Kirk Cousins? Who's the competition? Is it Kirk Cousins? Is it Jameis Winston? It's not Aaron Rodgers. I don't think it's going there. But
I think it's Justin Fields or
maybe.
Russell Wilson or somebody who can definitely win the job but might not win the job. I mean, there's not that many guys out there. I mean, you're not going to just do Joe Flacco. You might as well just give the job to Anthony Richardson.
They've already tried the Flacco
done
thing. Yeah. And Matt Ryan and Carson Wentz, right?
It doesn't make any sense for them to have an open QB competition where they're still trying to figure out Anthony Richardson. They're not
trying to figure out Anthony Richardson. When they say it's an open quarterback competition, they're not interested in Anthony Richardson.
At this rate, then they might as well just play him and just, if he sucks really bad, then hey, we need to get a quarterback. We know that for sure. If he plays really well, all of a sudden, hey, maybe we see something here that we actually can build on. Instead, because the open competition thing, you need to, I think, give him game experience more than anything else. Because that was one of the things coming in is lack of games in college. He just needs to play.
Yeah,
they're not good enough to win right now, so just let him play.
They knew it was a developmental project. I think, though, the locker room, that whole thing with the quitting on the play, that might have honestly just crushed your chances in that city, too.
Asking
from a fan base.
Never seen it from a quarterback ever.
Yeah, from the fan base and the guys in the locker room. Your quarterback just can't quit on your team. That's just, how do you trust, honestly, how do you trust that guy anymore? So we'll see, but who they bring in to compete will tell us, I guess, ultimately how serious they are about having a real... teams can say we're going to have a competition, and then it's Anthony Richardson and some,
Jag.
Yeah,
Carson Wentz. And you're like, okay, I guess Anthony
Carson Wentz should win that. Carson Wentz, he was already there,
Fields,
but I get what you're saying.
Whoever, somebody else.
Exactly. That's all 32 in the NFL. Thinking of Indianapolis, that's where the scouting combine is going on. Measurements and stuff for some of the position players taking place today. There also was a little media scrum fight potential with some reporting yesterday. We'll get to the bottom of that. Plus, we'll check out our Royals insiders' latest knowledge on what's going on at spring training. Josh Vernier going to call in next.
You're listening to Cody and Gold, brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com. Josh Vernier joins the show every day at 12:45, live from spring training, right here on your home for Royals baseball, 96.5, The Fan.
Men, this is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health. The one you love is the light of your life. And if you're like most of us, you want to do whatever you can to nurture your relationship. But if you're suffering with erectile dysfunction, you know the impacts the condition is likely having on you and your partner. ED is a relationship destroyer. It can contribute to depression, distancing, conflicts, and even breakups and divorce. And what's so disturbing about this is that most men who suffer with ED can be successfully treated, but a lot of guys don't seek treatment when they should. At Heartland Men's Health, we have protocols that are effective in well over 90% of cases. In fact, if you're like most guys, you could be having great sex within a day or two of your first appointment, and maybe find you're performing like you haven't in a long time. So call Heartland Men's Health today. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. We have 3 offices, Overland Park, Independence, and North Kansas City.
So you want a greener, thicker, healthier lawn? You need the local experts. I'm Noah with Gunter Pest and Lawn. My family's been helping Kansas City homeowners since 1950. You know us for bugs, but have you heard about our 7-step lawn care service? Our customers love having the best lawn on the block. No contracts, expert technicians, and our treatments typically cost less than doing it yourself. Starting as low as $50 per application. Go Gunter, go green.
Visit gunterpest.com.
I'm McCall with Lee Summit Subaru, and it's time to make a big deal out of nothing. Announcing Lee Summit Subaru's 0% event. Zero, like in 0% financing. Zero is back. Up to 0% financing on select 2024 and 2025 Subaru models for 72 months. And we're 2024 Google's highest review rated and only locally owned Subaru retailer in Kansas City. 0% event. The Subaru A Lot to Love event at Lee Summit Subaru.
Google highest review rated Subaru retailer in Kansas City based on Google Analytics.
I had the worst dream last night. You were in a car crash and the kids and I were on our own. We had to move out of the house because I couldn't afford it anymore.
That's awful, hon.
My brother was saying he got life insurance from Ethos. With Ethos, it only took 10 minutes, and he got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day. It's all online, no medical exam. He just answered a few health questions right from his house.
Ethos, here we come.
Visit getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
Sample rate is a 10-year term life policy for 35-year-old healthy, non-smoking male. Billed monthly.
Hi, it's me, your USPS Ground Advantage shipment. Just left the warehouse and hitting the road.
I know. Just got the notification.
Great. Smooth sailing so far. I'm almost there.
Yes, I know. I get all the updates.
Made it. Safe and sound.
I know.
Well, did you know I was with USPS the whole time?
Oh, yeah. I know.
Keep your business in the know with USPS Ground Advantage service. Visit USPS.com/in-the-know.
Getting your guaranteed maximum refund with TaxSlayer feels like discovering a refund tree has grown in your backyard.
I'm the refund tree.
Sawing off its branches.
Hey.
Feeding them through a wood chipper.
My branches! My beautiful branches!
And dancing in its refund rain. Start for free and get your guaranteed maximum refund. TaxSlayer. File fearlessly.
Huge news. Right now at Wendy's, you can get a Son of Baconator for just $3. I don't think you understand this situation. The Son of Baconator is only $3 for a limited time. You know, smoked bacon, rich melted cheese. That Son of Baconator is only $3. Thank you to whoever wished upon that star. For bacon that just won't quit, gotta be Wendy's.
U.S. price and participation may vary. Prices may be higher in Alaska and Hawaii, not valid on a combo or on third-party delivery platforms.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-390-0766. 800-390-0766. 800-390-0766.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
This is Michael Massie's walk-up song, potentially.
Could be. Sounds like he's strongly considered. He needs to have a better performance with the walk-up music. He said he was basically told he was the worst on the team a year ago.
I do think, I'm going to reach out to Massie and Vinny. I think that a potential Cody Gold garage sale item would be letting us choose the walk-up song for like a week. Do you think someone would bid for that pleasure?
I mean, somebody would bid
to choose
on
Michael
it.
Massie's walk-up song for mutually agreed upon song.
Yeah, so someone would bid on it.
Agreed
The
upon.
question is whether or not one of them would agree to do it, because it sounds like it's, also, hey, they're hitting well. They don't want to change it up if they're hitting well. You know what I mean? You get
Mutually agreed upon song and homestand.
They're hitting well. They don't want to change up the song. Now, maybe if they're slumping, they're like, fine, I'm open to all suggestions, and then it ends up being the song. A listener would absolutely bid on it. You would just have to see, is Vinny or Massie willing to give up a homestand of walk-up music?
I'll ask him.
Shoot
him a text at some point. Figure out. The garage sale's not till June. We got a little bit of time here. A little leeway. In the break, Pat McAfee was talking on his show. And I'll be honest, I'm pretty sure his source is Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
Listen to Pat McAfee talk about whether or not Travis Kelce's returning. He said while he was reaching out to the show, he did himself a favor, and he texted a source.
Are we playing next year? To my source says, and message was, my dog, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. 3. Source says, I'm coming back for sure. Going to try and get to the best shape I've been this offseason and get back to the mountaintop. Got a real bad taste in my mouth with how I played in that last game and how I got the guys ready for battle. I can't go out like that. Exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point, and guess what? One more exclamation point.
Huge.
So that was Pat McAfee. Clearly his source was Travis Kelce himself.
He texted Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce confirmed what we all thought we knew.
Yeah, and now the bigger surprise would be that he's not coming back, because everybody, whether it was Brett Veach, now you have it from the horse's mouth directly. Travis Kelce texting Pat McAfee. Yeah, Travis Kelce's back. The update to it is just that what we wondered, which is, would he really go out with that performance? And he's acknowledging in that text to Pat McAfee that that's a bad taste in my mouth. I'm not going out like that.
It's
and
not
then also,
just losing, it's like,
hey, I'm going to be in the best shape of my life kind of thing. I hope that's true. That'd be amazing.
He sounds incredibly motivated. And I've pointed out, I actually think Taylor Swift's good for that. He didn't need the motivation to be but people who perform at the top of their field with other people who perform at the top of their field, the level of work ethic and motivation to be the best reign pretty high. I'm really glad to hear that Travis is coming off the season where he's like, I'm not going out like that. Because that does mean to me we are likely to get one of the most motivated Travis Kelce's we've ever gotten. I'm not coming back. And I guess I could look it up. What did Travis Kelce do in the regular season the year after they got eliminated from the Super Bowl against the Bucs?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he was still maximum Travis Kelce probably at that time. They lost that Super Bowl.
He's 3 years younger or whatever, so yeah.
Yeah. But I just, that's the only other time in his NFL career where he was coming off of not just a loss, but a Super Bowl loss, one that is devastating across the board. He came back the following year and had 1,125 yards and 9 touchdowns. Pretty good player. Even better stats the year before that, 1,312 the year after that. So I think you're getting a motivated Travis Kelce. The key in the best shape of the life stuff is I'll always worry with Travis now at this stage. 17 games, man, that's a haul at 35 years old. That's a lot. That's asking a lot. And Andy, maybe it was Drew that asked us, well, Andy, will you take a little easy on Travis at training camp? Hell no. Andy doesn't give anybody a half day off. They got to work like everyone else. The closest Chris Jones got was in the middle of a contract dispute. He does not give days off. If you're coming in, you're working as hard as anybody else. I like hearing we got a motivated Travis Kelce.
No doubt.
I'm not leaving with a taste in my mouth. That's good.
This whole thing, there should be no doubt now. Travis Kelce's coming back. I mean, we already kind of knew, but that's over now. I mean, he literally responded, I'm coming back. I mean, that's over. And Pat McAfee obviously has a relationship with Travis Kelce. And the way the text was written and everything is clearly from him directly. So that's awesome news to hear if you're a Chiefs fan heading into 2025. Now, they're doing their show from Indy. They're based out of there. The Combine's in Indianapolis. Today, some of the measurable stuff is going to take place. Quarterbacks and stuff won't be till Saturday. And yesterday, towards the end of the show, there was that report from Jordan Schultz at Fox Sports, who tweeted out, Raiders minority owner Tom Brady recently hosted Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford at his home in Montana, where they spent time together and went skiing. Brady has been actively trying to convince Stafford to join the Raiders. Discussions are ongoing. Then, 30 minutes later, Ian Rappaport sent out a tweet. Raiders minority owner Tom Brady and Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford ran into each other at a ski resort in Montana. The meeting, unplanned, was not extensive or in-depth and did not include Brady hosting or recruiting Stafford, despite reports saying otherwise.
Okay.
So a direct contradiction to the Jordan Schultz report. The latest on this, number one, is that one of the Raiders beat writers contacted the NFL and got response back. The NFL is saying that it is not a tampering violation to have met because the permission is granted. Okay, whatever. But then doesn't that also prove they didn't just run into each other? It was clearly a meeting. They didn't just run.
Why is the meeting okay? And you need to say the meeting's okay if they never met at all. They just happened to see each other on the slopes.
Mm-hmm.
I told you, my biggest thing with this, honestly, more than anything, although the media fight, which we can get to in a minute, is my favorite part of this story. The overarching opinion I have on this is the league has consistently been bending over backwards for Tom Brady ever since and even before he became a minority owner of the Raiders, and are actively changing or ignoring rules they have in place for any other owner in the sport because he's a former player and a broadcaster for Fox. And what I'm saying is choose. You get to be one or the other. A broadcaster who I got to hear in my football games or an owner of the Raiders. Stop trying to do both. And the NFL's allowing him to do both by breaking rules, in my opinion.
It is funny that the Fox Sports NFL insider, Jordan Schultz, potentially broke the news of fellow coworker Tom Brady.
That's true.
Maybe tampering or not tampering, it sounds like. But then you referenced the fight. So in Indianapolis yesterday, according to Pro Football Talk, Jordan Schultz and Ian Rappaport interacted at a Starbucks yesterday, which
this was the best.
Jordan Schultz's dad is the former CEO of Starbucks, so it just adds to it, makes it hilarious.
Which I did not know.
We did not
know.
Yeah, we've had Jordan Schultz on the show. Seems like a nice guy. We've had both of them on the show, actually, in person at a Radio Row. But anyway, so there was a verbal altercation on Wednesday afternoon at a Starbucks inside the JW Marriott. The incident was first kind of documented by PFT commentator over at Barstool, and that they're told that Rappaport was talking to an agent in line, and Jordan Schultz approached Ian Rappaport and said, "We need to talk." To which Rappaport allegedly responded, "We don't need to talk." Then Schultz made accusations about Rappaport, according to this source in the story. Rappaport was told regards the accusation as unfounded. The two men were essentially face-to-face. Schultz then said, quote, "If you have anything to say to me, say it to my effing face. If this continues, we're going to have a effing problem." Okay. Rappaport then asked Schultz to step back. Schultz responded, "If this happens again, we're going to have a effing problem. Now I'll step back." And that was it. And then the incident was reported to NFL security. I don't know why it needed to be reported to NFL security, other than Ian Rappaport being an NFL employee. I guess that's the answer to my question. But he was verbally accosted. Media fights, man.
It's, first off, everyone's full of it on this one because they accidentally ran into each other. Stafford also accidentally ran into the ownership of the team he went to the last time in a completely different vacation spot.
In Cabo.
The person Tom Pelissaro reached out to confirm his side of the story, which was Schultz was wrong, was his agent, who is also Matthew Stafford's agent. I'll just be honest. We talk about this all the time, and this is like a media journalism 101. Gold is a reliable source for correct information that has no bias. The agent of the two people involved in an infraction, the answer is no. The fact that these two guys got in a fight over it is hilarious to me. Also,
NFL security.
I would only put it at a 1% chance they were ever going to throw a punch.
Right, of course.
Why is Rappaport calling the fuzz? You got to call the mall cops on him. Come on, man.
It is weird
you have to call
that
NFL security because someone got mad at you. That can't be the first time someone got mad at you.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it could have been clearly Jordan Schultz probably didn't need to go up to him either, but still, it's a whole nothing burger. It's just funny from the outside. Which NFL insider Or media, I'll just
Royal Rumble style. Who would
media
win?
insider. Who would you pick to win in a fight? I'm thinking about the Schefters.
I'm thinking like Royal Rumble style. Everyone's got to come to the ring and they all got to duke it out.
Jake Glazer is my answer, by the way. Jake Glazer. That dude does like MMA stuff and everything. Jake Glazer's jacked. I know he's a little bit older now.
A little older. That's hurting
Jake Glazer might be my answer. He's still pretty jacked up compared to some of these other NFL insiders. It's not Schefter, I can tell you that.
No,
it's not Rappaport either.
It's not like Tim Kirchin. He'd get tossed out right away.
It's not Jeff Passan.
I mean, do I get to include any of the like former athletes who are doing the job?
No, I don't think so.
Okay,
I'm talking just true
You're talking like
media.
insider-y people?
Mm-hmm. I think Jake Glazer is the winner, man.
I think Schultz might have an argument.
Okay.
I mean, we've stood next to him. He's
Someone
a pretty
says
tall
Pat
guy.
McAfee. McAfee's not considered an NFL insider. If we're just doing all media members, then we can. I'm talking about just truly the newsbreakers.
Passan broke his back a couple of years ago. That's got to be hurting him. Remember when that tree fell on him? That's got to be hurting him.
That story, yeah.
What? I'm just like, I'm using some logic in this. If we're having a conversation, I want to think about it.
What about?
It's not Florio.
No. What about?
They team up to get his ass out of the ring.
Yeah, it's definitely not Florio.
I think it might be Schultz or
Jake Glazer.
Or Glazer. I'm thinking about it
Glazer's
now.
short, someone said though,
and I'm having a hard time. Yeah, but short doesn't mean not strong. Like that doesn't mean you can't like.
Sounds like Brian Windhorse.
Could be good at grappling.
I don't know. The conditioning might be a problem. I don't know. What about a Royals insider? Would you take Vern in this? Do you think our Royals insider?
If everyone at 96.5 The Fan got in a fight, Vern would fight dirty. I appreciate that.
I think so.
He'd do what it takes to win.
Josh Vernier has his hot stove show tonight, starting at 6 o'clock here on 96.5 The Fan. He's expected to have Seth Lugo and Carter Jensen join him this evening. Vern, we were talking about this scouting combine media. No, it's not even a skirmish. Verbal altercation between Jordan Schultz and Ian Rappaport over some reporting, and they were face to face. And so we were saying, what NFL or sports insider would win in a fight? I said Jay Glazer. Maybe it's Josh Vernier.
Well, certainly Jay Glazer. Yeah, there's no doubt about that. But if we were having one of hosts and producers at 96.5 The Fan, honestly, the only person that I would say, okay, I need to up my game for this fight is Cody. Because I think Cody, like myself, we've lived a life where, you know what, hey, we find ourselves a little maybe inebriated and, I think Cody and I
I've been in a fight.
ran the streets in a similar fashion. Not saying that, Cody, I don't know how many, if any, fights you've been in.
A few.
But I just know, you got brothers and stuff. I got in plenty of fights in downtown Milwaukee until one day I realized, hey, man, you got a pretty good job. You might want to stop fighting people if you want to hang on to this bad boy.
When I want to ask you about some of the stuff you got coming up tonight and some of the other stuff happening on the field right now, but we were trying to earlier come up with a joint nickname for Pasquantino and Caglione. Do you got anything that comes to mind?
No, I don't. Because I feel like no matter what it is, it's going to come across the wrong way, especially when I've been seeing Vinny lately. I mean, he's got a little bit longer hair now. It's all kind of slicked back. He's been walking around in I don't know what. We used to call them wife beaters. I'm not allowed to call them that anymore. So
tank top, whatever.
Yeah. So he's looking very, with all due respect, he's looking very Italian.
Yeah, I stayed away from this. I stayed away from this discussion earlier. I got a little too strong on the stereotypes on the text line for me earlier.
Yeah. And as a very, very white guy, that's not my spot.
Okay, fair enough. I still think there's a lot of good choices out there, even if there are some questionable ones.
What's the leader right now in the clubhouse?
I don't know if there is a leader.
Is there a leader? So originally I had suggested heavy hitters, but people didn't like that. The hit squad, I think people were going with, or hit men, I think was in there because we're trying to lean into it. Some people just suggested calling them the meatballs. I thought that was too far. Someone said what?
Meatballs.
Goodness.
I like it.
So maybe that one?
I can't say it, but I like it.
Somebody suggested a shirt with the two of them on there that just said Pasta La Vista, as in, that's how they hit home runs. So, there's choices.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, bravo, Kansas.
Oh, my gosh.
We can enjoy that.
Now, we had Michael Massie on. Thanks for helping make that happen a little bit earlier on in the hour.
Gotten rid of every ounce of fat on his body. And he said, a lot of his off-season workout was focused on that back. And it's been really encouraging to hear the coaching staff, the training staff, and earlier today, Massie himself. They're no longer worried about it. They're not babying it. They're not. Of course, they're monitoring it and listening to it. And if something flares up, they're going to abide by what the doctors say. But, the tiptoeing around it that we've dealt with over the past year and a half, Massie and the coaching staff alike are attacking this spring training as if it's not an issue. It's not going to be an issue. And I found it very interesting what he told you guys about going out to left field. You're not bending over to pick up as many ground balls as you are at second base. You'll remember last year that prior to each inning, when Vinny's throwing grounders to Bobby and Mike Hell at third, he would avoid throwing those grounders to Michael Massie to avoid him possibly re-aggravating that lower back. And but I do find it interesting that possibly playing out in left field, playing a corner outfield position could help him stave off that lower back issue, which has flared up year in and year out. No, I was really encouraged with what I saw from him. Defensively, we all know his prowess at second base. The bat has never been a question when it comes to Michael Massie, and of course, the work ethic is second to none. So, yeah, I would say next to the big names at the top of the lineup, the India, Salvi, Vinny, and Bobby, Michael Massie to me is right there with a Freddie Fermin as far as, let's get these games going because the boys look ready.
When you look at the starting pitching yesterday, Seth Lugo got roughed up a little bit. It's a spring training game. I'm not going to hear and back down the stuff. Is there something in particular he's working on, Vern? What are you kind of looking for out of spring in Seth Lugo? I know he only went a couple of innings yesterday.
2 days ago for Lugo, Waka went yesterday. Yeah, and the 3-run home run that Lugo gave up was on a curveball. We all know just how dominant Seth Lugo's curveball is and has been. And Cody, you know this as well as anybody out here in Arizona, the breaking balls just don't break the way that you're accustomed to if you're a guy like Seth Lugo. So read nothing into his 3 earned runs. Michael Waka falling behind in counts yesterday was really what plagued him. But Michael Waka obviously been doing this long enough that regardless of what the numbers look like, to me, Lugo, Waka, Bobby, Salvi, a Carlos Esteves, those 5 to me really stand out as far as they've done it enough. They know what they need to get done out here in Arizona. And so long as they feel good at the end of camp, I know what I'm going to get. I know at least what I can expect out of them once the game starts at Kauffman Stadium. So, yeah, I wouldn't read anything into the final lines of neither Lugo or Waka.
And Estevez, he's dealing with something right now injury-wise. Is that right?
Yeah, I had a lower back, mid-lower back thing flare up in a recent bullpen session, but he's been up on the bump twice. He's thrown. He's feeling better, always in good spirits, and Q didn't seem all that – now, Q doesn't seem all that concerned about anything very often, but he wasn't concerned about getting him enough work before opening day. As Esteves will be the closer, as we've talked about. When you're paying a guy that much, you're going to give him the opportunities to eat up those saves. But they still believe they can get him on the hill in 5 to 7 games before camp break. So the final boss for the Royals should be ready to go on opening day.
Is it wrong to say that this is the most juice this bullpen has had since, the HDH 2015-16 stuff?
No question, Cody. And yesterday, Chris Stratton, a guy that a veteran that either makes the team or gets DFA'd and is making a decent penny this season. He looked solid yesterday. Q saying that the fastball profile looking a lot more like the Chris Stratton they thought they were getting last season. Instead of the fastball running in towards right-handers, it now has that natural cut. And they feel confident they're going to be able to use Chris Stratton multiple days in a row. Again, being that rubber-armed reliever that you can use in the 6th or 7th inning to give you an inning in a third multiple times in a week. And Fred likely, of the 8 relievers, he's likely number 8. But, man, Angel Zerpa on the hill yesterday looking as strong as let's remember, Angel Zerpa was the Juan Soto, quote-unquote, stopper. He was the guy that Q was turning to for the biggest at-bats and the biggest moments in the postseason last year. And the confidence that Zerpa built off of that, getting that kind of affirmation from the coaching staff and the organization, man, I think Zerpa by season's end will be right there with Urseg, right there with Estevez as the best reliever on this team. But now, we haven't talked about John Schreiber, who's celebrating the birth of a child, so he's been away from the team for the past few days. Sam Long, lefties and righties, you saw how impressive he was just a season ago. And then Hunter Harvey, a healthy Hunter Harvey. Man, that's a pretty strong 1 through 8. And, yeah, I'd put it right up. I wouldn't put it up there with the championship team, but to your point, yeah, certainly the best we've seen since that 2015-2016 bunch.
As far as a couple guys that maybe won't have huge roles on this team, what about the bench? We know Adam Frazier's not part of the equation this year, and that was a guy that was frustrating, I think, for a lot of fans throughout the season. Who could factor in, I guess, for some of those bench roles this year?
Yeah, 4 spots open. We know Freddie Fermin is your backup catcher. I wouldn't be surprised if Freddie's, I don't want to say his at-bats may go down somewhat this season, especially if Vinny stays healthy. If the team remains relatively healthy this season, I think Freddie might fall more into a classic backup catcher role, especially for the first half of the season. Then you're going to need a backup center fielder. Dairon Blanco, you would assume, is going to grab that job, but he's dealt with some Achilles tendonitis out here, so he's been slow played, at least for the past week and a half. But, if Dairon Blanco needs to open up the season on the IL, sure, Drew Waters, Joey Weimer, the outfielder that he got in the Brady Singer trade along with Jonathan India. Yeah, those guys can obviously go get it in center field, but I think it's interesting. Tyler Tolbert, the speed demon on the base paths, a guy that can play infield, has shined in center field, especially out here in spring training the past few seasons. I think he could be that Gerard Dyson, Terrence Gore, Dairon Blanco, we need a bag, and we know we're going to get that stolen base because of this dude. So, Tyler Tolbert's a name to listen for, to watch over the next few weeks. And then with the, final 2 spots, you're going to want a utility infielder. I think you want that guy to be hitting from the left side. I like Harold Castro, a guy that some might remember from the Detroit Tigers. He played in the Mexican League last year. He has already shined defensively at first base, at second base. We've seen him at third. He's taken some of the best at-bats, some of the longest plate appearances we've seen out here in spring. And, of course, Kevin Biggio, Nick Lofton, they could also make a run for that utility infielder. And then the final spot's going to come down to the late inning big bat. Can Nelson Velasquez show that he's more than just a home run? Well, can he show that he is that home run hitter that we saw a few seasons ago? But can he play left field on occasion? Can he be more than a one-trick pony? Nick Prado, time running out. If he is basically just a corner outfielder now, he's played left and right out here in spring. So that final spot's going to be who's hitting well at the end of camp. Prado, Velasquez, maybe a Nick Lofton, or maybe, an Adam Duvall, someone that is still out there in free agency that finally capitulates and says, all right, I'll take a minor league deal. Wouldn't be surprised to see the Royals still bringing in a bat like that.
Josh Vernier, our Royals Insider Hot Stove Show tonight, 6 o'clock right here on 96.5 The Fan. And Carter Jensen, Seth Lugo joining you tonight, man. We'll be listening.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
There you go. I wanted to have the Duvall bite. I didn't know he was going to say drop Adam Duvall.
Duvall!
That's the thing. It's just Duvall. That was the way. That was so just weird. Liam Cohen. But they got a bunch of options for the bench spots. And, they're never usually all that popular guys because it's frustrating. They don't play a whole lot. So when they come in, if they're not contributing that one spot, then everybody Adam Frazier was bad last year though, bad for this team. They hopefully will have some more out of those bench spots, though. And I kind of like the idea, though, of going with Tolbert with what Vern was describing. He can play a bunch of spots. He's got speed, and kind of like having that off the bench.
Yeah, I think, and they utilize that better than most teams because of the way Kaufman works and their desire to steal bases and move runners. So, yeah, seems like a decent fit, honestly.
Up next, Mayor Q with the latest on where things might stand on the stadium front, including, I think, pretty telling information about what direction one of the franchises might be heading. And we're bringing it back. It's been a little while. Snitchline Thursday. Oh, boy. 913-586-7965 right here on Cody and Gold.
This is Cody and Gold on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Well, those record low temperatures from a week ago, I think, are finally in the rearview mirror. Things are going to be a little bit nicer this week. And if you were driving last week, maybe driving a vehicle from Max Motors, and you had those heated front seats, the heated steering wheel, oh man, life must have been a lot easier, not to mention four-wheel drive. And at Max Motors, they have everything you need to make sure the next time you encounter a storm like that, you don't have to deal with the inconvenience on the road or even just right there sitting in the vehicle. I'm talking about that new 2024 Jeep Grand Cherokee, by the way, that's up to $15,000 off MSRP, stock number S250069. That vehicle has some of those features I just mentioned. And at Max Motors, they will be able to take care of you and walk you through the buying process to make sure you find the vehicle you're going to love. You got to finance with a dealer lender. The offer expires 3/3/25, but Max Motors has the best financing options to get you in that vehicle in the Midwest with the max trade-in values. Check out one of their 7 Kansas or Missouri locations, or of course,
buzzer beaters to block parties. There's nothing as exciting as basketball. With Underdog, you can bring that excitement to wherever you watch. Playing on their app is as easy as choosing higher or lower on player stats like threes made, points, rebounds, and so much more. I love the Underdog app. So get those selections right, and you could win up to 1,000 times your money. It's so much fun. Millions of fans have won over billions on Underdog. Will you be the next? It's simple to